He's played the position, and he has coached some of the best quarterbacks in the world.
Once again, it's Tom Brady.
In the NFL and in the CFL.
He throws to the left, touchdown!
Now, John Hufnagel hopes to have the same kind of success with Henry Burris under center.
Burris is a man open, touchdown!
Tonight, it's the Battle of Alberta, the Eskimos and the Stamps. Next. They all file into Commonwealth Stadium for a little Thursday night CFL action. It's an oldie but a goodie, Calgary and Edmonton. They're all ready, the first of 3 meetings between these two Alberta rivals. They won't meet again until the Labor Day back-to-back matchups with Henry Burris ever bang on last week at home against the BC Lions. Ricky Ray moved the ball, but they could not put the ball into the end zone. And that's been a problem with the Eskimos, and they're going to need to correct that tonight in front of what will be a big crowd. Welcome back to the CFL on TSN. Game number 2 of our Week 2 opening night doubleheader. Dave Randolph, Jock Climby, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. Last week, maybe the biggest victory of the week was Calgary beating BC at McMahon Stadium. 28-18 was the score. This is a team, Calgary, that struggled down the stretch. A lot of people felt they underperformed as a whole. Sure, they had Henry Burris injured, but here they get BC, week 1. At home, and they stepped up and showed us all they're ready to go in 08.
Yeah, a lot of talk about Henry Burris and Kenyon Rambo, and justifiably so, because they played brilliantly. But I thought Chris Jones, defensive coordinator, and the Calgary Stampeders really stepped up, guys, in my opinion, because this defense was certainly under the gun and the spotlight, you know, going into this season, because there was a lot of things up in the air. They're going from a 3-4 to a 4-3, new defense coordinator philosophy, and they simply shut down an offense that is loaded with weapons and made him look non-existent. Like there, Joe Smith. Where was he? He was virtually Schultz, kept off the stat sheet.
54 yards rushing for Joe Smith.
Well, this whole week of CFL football is about are you for real? Because after 2 games, are you for real means that you have some consistency in you. Henry Burris, can he play at the same level that he did previously? I was immensely impressed in how efficient he was, how his technique was together, calm, cool, collected. He had all his skills as a quarterback at the highest possible level. Can Henry do it again?
I know you were saying that, Schultz, and you were saying that last week as well, and you were impressed with him. I thought I saw the same Henry as I've been seeing. Henry has been a great quarterback
but not early in the season. Early in the season, he always has problems.
Yeah, last year he's right. Last year he's right. His technique was flawed early in the season. The first 2-3 games out of the gate, he wasn't the Henry Burris we know. And then he got in a role, and he was an MOP candidate.
Very, very quickly, why can't Edmonton put the ball in the end zone? They can move it up and down the field. They can't score the touchdowns. Why?
Well, I've had the same theory going for quite some time with the Edmonton Eskimos, and that's because they're not playing aggressively enough. And I said it last week. I want to see Ricky Ray throw for 55%. I don't want to see him throw for 68, 69, 70% like he's been doing the last year. All this nickel and diming, dumping underneath is all well and good, but here's what defenses want you to do. Ricky Ray, they want you to throw it underneath all day long because you're going to have to be perfect all the way down the football field. Eventually, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to throw it up like we saw in that highlight right there, and then you have a chance for a turnover. But you've got to be aggressive, as we saw Casey Printers do. Take your shots, even if it's just to throw a guy down the field over his head. Make the defense respect the receivers.
But they got to call the plays. Someone has to call the plays for Ray to be aggressive because he's a soldier. He's going to execute the play called. So Machocha has to give him the freedom to call the play.
That's Rick Warman as well, right?
Yes.
That's Rick Warman, new offensive coordinator. So they've got to get a little more aggressive down the field is what we're saying.
Well, they're going to have to get aggressive tonight. They were dominated last year by Calgary. Calgary took all 3, and they've won 7 of the last 9 head-to-head meetings. Here are the starting quarterbacks brought to you by the Wendy's Baconator. It is 2 familiar faces. Henry Burris for the Stamps, Ricky Ray for the Edmonton Eskimos. And we should also tell you that Janice Koha of Sherwood Park, Alberta, you could win a 2009 Nissan Titan if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in tonight's game. Thanks to Safeway's touchdown and win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned, you win $1 million. Let's go to Edmonton now. Here are Rod Black and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you very much. TSN, the exclusive broadcaster
Rochester of the CFL, proud home of the Grey Cup, into the proud home of the Edmonton Eskimos. 60 seasons they are celebrating here in what is called the City of Champions. Commonwealth Stadium celebrating its 30th birthday this year. The temperature, it's a hot one here, close to 30 degrees. The wind, not much of a factor. The field is dry as always. The natural turf here, but thought it wasn't going to rain, but we've got some clouds now, and again, not much of a breeze here.
In the game of football, when a team struggles, all eyes turn to two people, Rod, the quarterback and the head coach. It's no different here in Edmonton. Ricky Ray, they want him to put some points up on the board. For head coach Danny Machocha, it's just about winning games. On the other side, things are positive right now, and one of the main reasons is this guy, Kenyon Rambo. 13 touchdown catches in his last 12 games. He is on fire. He has truly become the #1 receiver for quarterback Henry Burris.
What a week for Henry Burris last week. And what a week for the Calgary Stampeders. A flying start for them. A win over the BC Lions. The Edmonton Eskimos, not so much. They've lost 7 straight games dating back to last September. And the Eskimos know the heat is on here. And in more ways than one tonight, it's a muggy night. Burris and the Stampeders getting ready. The Stamps will kick off. Sandro DeAngelis will start this off here tonight for the Calgary Stampeders. Newcomer Tristan Jackson. He's back. Number 38. And here we go. The Battle of Alberta, round 1 of 2008 is underway. Jackson tripped up at his 5-yard line. Tries to find an opening. And he brings it out to the 34-yard line tonight for Ricky Ray and the Edmonton Eskimos.
As we said, Rod, offensively, it's all about Ricky Ray. He's the #1 guy in this offense. He has got to put points on the board. Look for him to be a little bit more aggressive than he usually has been in the past. The receivers he'll be throwing to, of course, everybody knows Jason Tucker. They need the likes of Brock Ralph and Fred Stamps to step up and become stretch guys for them. The offensive line, keep an eye on number 59 at left guard, Calvin Armstrong, trying to fill the shoes of the injured Dan Comiskey.
Big blow last week. Dan Comiskey, first game, out for a while with an ankle injury. Quickly, Ray to the air, over the middle, and Kamau Peterson has it and lunges forward for about 8 yards or so. Maybe a little less than that, but first completion for Ricky Ray.
And gives us a chance to take a look at this Calgary Stampeders defense that played so well last week, led by the defensive line. But 3 injuries in the starting front 7 last week, including their 2 DNs, which means Charleston Hughes and Mike Labinjo get the start there. LaMarcus Rowell jumps in for Salid Rashim at middle linebacker. And in the back end, keep an eye on big Brandon Browner on the corner, the shutdown corner.
Second down. Ripped up. Slipping in the backfield was Damian Anderson in his first carry tonight. Anderson, not a very productive week last week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Only 45 yards on the ground, but he has to carry a lot of the mail here for Danny Machocha and the Eskimos.
He sure does. It's a big part of helping their pass protection. If they can get that run game going and force the front 7 for Calgary to honor that run threat, they can't get after Ricky Ray quite as much. And we saw last week as pressure got to him, he threw a couple of interceptions.
Noel Prefontaine, the former Argo. Lets it go from the 30-yard line. Marcus Howell takes it after a couple of bounces. It looks like we've had some footing problems early on here tonight. You wouldn't think that would happen considering it's been such a dry day, and penalty flag on the play. A couple of players have been slipping up here early on.
It's always tough here in Edmonton as the only grass surface in the league. Sometimes it takes people a little while to figure out what footwear they want to go with. So you'll often see guys bring out 2 or 3 pairs and adjust as the game goes on.
No yards. Edmonton, number 97. 5-yard penalty, first down.
No yards called. Darryl Barron is our referee tonight. Ken Lazarick is the field judge as they give an opportunity to some of the newer officials to work in the head referee shoes. Umpire tonight is Ron Bars. Here's the offense for Henry Burris.
Yeah, you mentioned Kenyon Rambo stepping up, but you still got to respect those other 3 receivers. All can produce. The offensive line, 4 new starters since last year. Dimitri Zukas, the rookie, is right there trying to fill the shoes of Jay McNeil.
Jermaine Copeland brought down by Lenny Williams. Much like the pass that Ricky Ray threw. 6 or 7 yards, their first play from scrimmage. Here's the defense the Eskimos send out tonight.
And one of the key guys here, of course, their big acquisition, number 41, Fred Perry at defensive end, has got to get after Henry Burris here tonight. Augie Baranachea steps in at middle linebacker with the retirement of A.J. Gass. They shift the ratio. That allows him to go with the imported free safety, Jason Goss, who was their outstanding defensive player a year ago.
Burris backpedals, avoids the pressure, and will step out of bounds right at the first down marker. So a little heat, but there's also a flag in the backfield. That might signify a holding call here.
Holding. Calgary, number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Veteran Jeff Pilon. There's Ken Lazarick, 32nd season as the CFL official, and usually the referee. It's a chance to take a different view here tonight.
Yeah, and part of the opportunity for the younger officials, as you said, Rod, to move up as some of the veteran referees get a little bit older and maybe retiring within the next few years. They've got to give some of the other guys an opportunity to take that lead role on the field.
After the holding call by Pilon, 2nd and 13. Joffrey Reynolds in the backfield in the draw play. And nowhere to goal, so that will bring out the kick team now. Bert Dales will punt the ball away for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, that was the kind of shutdown that the Edmonton Eskimos needed to start this game defensively. They're going to get the ball back now in pretty good field position. That's up to the offense to answer the bell. They need to generate momentum early.
Burke Dales, career average of 44 yards or so. Back at his 10-yard line. Tristan Jackson again is back near his 40-yard line. Powering kick by Dales. Jackson at his 25. With some room here. Tristan Jackson, look out. Down the sideline he goes and runs into Burke Dales, who makes a big tackle on a big return from Tristan Jackson. 39 yards for the Eskimos. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos had a number of long drives last week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Dwayne Ford, had they been able to convert those field goals into 6 points and touchdowns, that might have been a completely different result.
Yeah, and it becomes so demoralizing, not just for the offense, but for the defense. They sit on the sidelines, watch their offense move the ball, and hope that they're going to give them a little bit of a lead to protect. That offense unable to do it, it really has an impact on the entire team.
Nice return by Tristan Jackson. Ricky Ray rolls to his right.
There you go! There you go!
Catch made by Calvin McCarty. Surrey, BC native. Comes up with a big one after Ray could not find a receiver downfield.
Yeah, Calvin McCarty does a nice job here. He's your back in the backfield. One back with Ricky Ray. Little inside run fake. He gets forgotten about after that fake, and he then just mirrors his quarterback out, providing a nice outlet in the flat on that play.
First down for the Eskimos. Ray again. Over the middle. This should be a touchdown. It is Kelly Campbell. And that's the way to convert near the red zone.
Kelly Campbell is one of the guys they rely on this team to provide a vertical stretch. You're going to see him line up as a middle receiver here, using just his pure speed on the go route. Beats his man to the inside, makes it an easy throw for his quarterback, Ricky Ray. A nice little stem to the outside to turn the hips of the DB, and then beat Bannister back to the inside.
Calvin Bannister victimized there. Kelly Campbell, the former Minnesota Viking. They love his speed, and they need another vertical guy, which could help spring Jason Tucker a little bit too. But Kelly Campbell with the touchdown like butter early on. The Eskimos have the lead. 32-yard touchdown. Kelly Campbell from Ricky Ray. Talked yesterday, Dwayne Ford, about when they get to the red zone and when they get close to the goalpost, they have to start going vertical a little more, and he wants to start firing instead of some of those little passes, the dump passes that he's been throwing, the 6 and 7 yarders.
Yeah, Ricky Ray looking to develop a little bit more of a killer instinct. It's a fine line for a quarterback. They get it preached to them so often. You got to protect the football and make good decisions. Protect the ball, make good decisions. And that has made Ricky Ray a conservative quarterback, but he recognizes that to put points on the board against today's CFL defenses, you've got to be as aggressive as they are.
His completion ratio has been outstanding. Just that they haven't been able to go for that tail shot, like you mentioned. Out of the end zone. Demetrius Summers, South Carolina, one of the many first-year players for the Calgary Stampeders, who have also, like the Edmonton Eskimos, had a number of new faces and a number of new faces for Henry Burris. However, what hasn't changed for Burris, his weapons offensively.
Yeah, and so many of them. As balanced an offense as you'll find anywhere in the Canadian Football League, Rod. And you've got Joffrey Reynolds carrying the ball in the backfield, and the group of receivers that they have, 4 of them with over 700 yards last year. It gives Henry Burris an opportunity to spread that ball all around.
Slipping up there was Summers, one of the newcomers. Also another newcomer will be Chris Jackson, number 87, who had a touchdown in last week's game.
Keep an eye here on the left end. Montez Murphy, number 95, gets the big mid up to deflect that ball. Out to the receiver.
There's Montez, 6 feet 6 inches of it. Right there with Daryl Romero, Jim Davis, and Fred Perry representing the front line. Nick Lewis close to a first down. Might be a yard shy here. And that moves Nick Lewis. That catch moves him into 10th place all time on the Stampeder list. He was tied with Willie Burden before that.
You're going to see nice poise here for quarterback Henry Burris. Middle linebacker comes free on the blitz. Nick Lewis recognizes that, sits it down in that hole. Nicely timed between quarterback and receiver, that non-verbal communication that you need.
But the Eskimos hold the Stampeders a yard short, and Burke Dales is out, so no gambling going on here early for John Huffnagel and the Stampeders, who trail 7-0. Inside 9 minutes now in the first quarter. Tristan Jackson, a nice return in the previous kick from Dales. Downfield quickly to football. Back inside on a couple of cutbacks. Tristan Jackson, a 12-yard return on a 56-yard kick from Burke Dales. Well, it's a year of nostalgia here, Mr. Ford. The Edmonton Eskimos, you see the helmet that they will only wear tonight. Emblematic of their 60 seasons, began in 1949. 13 Grey Cup championships and some great players, Hall of Famers like Jackie Parker. And look at that jersey. You didn't wear one of those, did you?
No, those were just before my time.
And all of the cups, including the 5 in a row in the late 70s and early 80s. And the Eskimos truly, and even the Oilers at that time, that really represented this city of champions that they called it. Did nothing but win. Damian Anderson plows for a first down, and all of that winning kind of spoils the faithful too. 34 straight playoff seasons, and that's why they've been talking about the last 2 years being so unsuccessful.
Yeah, so true. The expectations here are just so high. As you mentioned, 13 Grey Cups, including those 5 in a row. The expectations in this city have never waned. It is a given that the Edmonton Eskimos do not go into a season hoping to make the playoffs, even expecting to make the playoffs. They go into the regular season every year planning on winning the Grey Cup.
Another first down, play action, and going over the hill and laying out is Brock Ralph.
The initial signal from the officials here seems to be incomplete.
Now they are moving the yard markers, so there is a little confusion. One thing that's not confusing is Brock Ralph is hurt after laying out here.
Ralph will slant in from the right side of your screen.
Ball comes loose, but hangs on. And again, the catch, no catch rules have been modified this year in the Canadian Football League. That looks like catch to me.
Yep, Brock Ralph kept his arm underneath that ball, survived that contact with the ground on his roll to keep it tucked under that arm. That's the least of Ralph's concerns at this moment.
Brock Ralph, who last year was with the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the other side of the ball tonight. His brother Brett will talk more about that when we come back to Edmonton. Nothing. Edmonton, 7:29 to go in the first quarter as Brock Ralph maybe looked a little winded there after making a sensational grab to keep this drive going for the Eskimos. Ray, lots of time. Into the backfield. Down the sideline, and another first down, it looks like.
You're going to see Ricky Ray on this play. Classic Ricky Ray when he's given the time by his offensive line. Works through his reads. You're going to see, first of all, as he takes a snap, Ray looking downfield. It gradually scans across, reads down to his back in the flat. Plenty of time. The importance of a couple of good runs early in the game from Damian Anderson. Defensive line has to honor that, and it gives Ricky Ray a little bit more time to throw the football.
Ray again, the percentage was perfect until that toss for Kelly Campbell, who has the touchdown here tonight. But Ricky Ray has always been a high percentage quarterback. A few years ago when, you know, he had some other dual threats like Ed Hervey, who we see on the sidelines, the Eskimos Western scout now. But over the last couple of years, you know, especially last year when the injury problems and the shoulder separation, missed the last 5 games, but it's obvious that when Ricky Ray is on and when he can go and find those dangerous targets and maybe go for that strike, this team has a lot of success.
Yeah, and so much of it, as you alluded to, Rod, is the ability to open it up, having guys who can do more than just run the short runs.
Ray out of the pocket, throws it away, and was hammered just as he threw the football by Eddie Freeman.
Big Eddie Freeman, such an important acquisition for the Calgary Stampeders. He joined them at the end of last season. Gives him a little bit more beef on the inside. Big number 97 lines up as the right tackle. Just shows good pursuit here. He's unblocked as it's a slide protection. Just keeps working to the football, working to the football. Didn't get the sack, but it's always nice when you can get a hit on the quarterback and get away with it.
Noel Prefontaine is lining up here for a field goal. He already has booted a 54-yarder last week against Saskatchewan. This one from the 52-yard line, as they have to hustle to get another player on the field here. Calvin Armstrong quickly buckles up, so they're going to be rushed here. And the left foot of Noel Prefontaine. 5 seconds on the play clock, lets it go, and it's no good. Marcus Howell, just over the 15-yard line. So a miss this time from Noel Prefontaine, the former Argo. Henry Burris. We've heard of a player being, or person being red-eyed. He literally has been red-eyed since playing the last couple of years. This is what he does before every game. He puts in these contact lenses, Dwayne Ford, that are red in color. They diffuse some of the light, prevent squinting, anything like that. He's been using them.
Yeah, it gives him an advantage. And I think Henry kind of likes those red rings. I think he figures they psych out the defense a little bit, too.
Well, they match the uniform. Behind center this time. The hand off to Joffrey Reynolds. First down, Calgary.
Well, so important against the Calgary Stampeders to honor the bootleg from that quarterback, Henry Burris. But if you take a look here, you're going to get a terrific block from the center to hook his man and seal that off. You see Rob Lazio seal, working up to that second level, cutting off the linebacker, Shabazz, not allowing him to pursue to the ball.
Reynolds was a big factor last week. 23 carries, 125 yards against the BC Lions. This time, Sadiq Shabazz trips him up And there's no blocking help, but Joffrey Reynolds, if they show that balanced attack, the Stampeders are very difficult to stop.
Well, they sure are. You have so many things that you have to watch. In the run game alone, you always have to be aware, certainly of Joffrey Reynolds, particularly between the tackles, but then using quarterback Henry Burris with bootleg action to stretch the outsides and force the ends to play their contain makes it very difficult for them to collapse on Reynolds. And then again, when we start talking about the receivers, that's a whole other story.
To the right side, out of the backfield, is Joffrey Reynolds, who can also be used as a receiver threat, but he is stopped short, and once again, Burke Dales has to come out and kick this away.
So far for Calgary, not able to stretch the field vertically very much. It's been a lot of crossing routes, flats, and so on from them, short hooks. This is part of the Edmonton Eskimos game plan. If you can get a little bit of pressure on Henry Burris and not give him time to throw the deep routes, obviously it's going to work to your advantage. There you see defensive coordinator Rick Campbell, the author of that game plan. They've had their ups and downs over the last couple of years, but high hopes with a lot of young new faces here for the Eskimos.
Dales angles one. Good kick here. Jackson fields it on the hop. And we'll get gang tackled at the 20-yard line. 7-0 Eskimos. 3:46 to go in the first. Henry Burris in those red lenses not working quite yet like they did last week. Stampeder offense not getting untracked. Have not advanced the ball into Edmonton territory yet. The Eskimos, Ricky Ray has been awfully good so far. Vertical again, stretching out is Kelly Campbell. Wanted a flag. There is a penalty flag. It's near the 30-yard line. That was a late flag.
It looks like we're probably going to get a pass interference call here as Kelly Campbell was contacted before he went for this football. He's going to line up as the middle receiver in this set. And it again, is just going vertically. Gets that inside release once again as he goes up for that football. You see the halfback, Brandon Smith, contacted him with Ricky Ray. Sold it to the officials.
Coach Hufnagel, who's worked with so many quarterbacks over the years after leaving the CFL, is a great quarterback himself in the Canadian Football League. Ray now in the pocket. Fred Stamps over his head.
That one just slightly overthrown by Ricky Ray. It seemed like a little bit of miscommunication. He thought Fred Stamps was going to get a little bit more depth on that route.
One thing you also get with Ricky Ray is a lot of even distribution with receivers.
Yeah, he sure does. He doesn't lean on any one guy. He likes to spread that ball around. We're seeing a lot of 5 receiver sets here so far, and he's working on getting the ball to all of them.
Nothing yet to number 83, one of his most dangerous targets, Jason Tucker. Maybe this time. 2nd down and 10. Going deep again. And Stamps almost brought in a one-handed grab, but it's not going to matter. Penalty flag on the play. Stampeder head coaching staff is irate on that side of the field. It is against the Stampeders.
Well, Fred Stamps in this one.
Calgary, number 33.
He's going to line up as your outside receiver here, and he's just on a go route against the corner, Dwight Anderson. Anderson's got Stamps' right arm tucked underneath his armpit. Stamps goes up. He can only go up with that left hand. The officials see that, and that's what drew the flag.
Whatever they saw on tape this week, the Eskimos, they're going vertical a lot here and challenging the corners and the DBs of the Stamps early on.
Yeah, they sure are, and we're seeing a lot of trips to the short side of the field. 3 receivers into the boundary, giving Fred Stamps a lot of room to work to that field.
Play action. Ricky Ray.
Coming.
And he is brought down right at the line of scrimmage. LaMarcus Rowell playing his first game. In for the injured Salim Rashid. Rowell makes his CFL debut at Jacksonville State. Also played at Auburn, had some off-field problems, was out of football last year, says this is a second chance for him, and made good on that chance right there.
Yeah, and this is the case in the CFL, as we've seen in the past with several players. Presents an opportunity for guys to get their careers back on track. And certainly a lot of fans in Calgary hoping that that works out for LaMarcus Rowell.
Losing the football and picked up a turnover here as Richard Carey has the football. Calvin McCarty lost it as he looked like he was churning for more yardage and maybe a little bit too much as the Stamps punch it out and recover.
And it's so tough to fault the effort of Calvin McCarty here because he is fighting, working, keeping the legs churning for those extra yards. Juwan Armour is the guy who holds on. Dwayne Carpenter comes in from behind with the left hand to punch it free. Richard Carey, the opportunist, right place, right time to scoop up the puck.
Let's see if the Stampeders capitalize now. They have not done much offensively here in this first quarter. Just over a minute to play. It's been a lot of Burke Dale so far. Joffrey Reynolds again. 6 yards for him.
The typical hard-earned 6 yards for Joffrey Reynolds on that play. Straight up the gut. Reynolds, of course, with the 100-yard game last week.
Second down and 4 yards now. Trying to get the end game going. Pump fake. And is Kenyon Rambo. Big play here for the Stampeders. And that's the kind of stuff they were doing last week against the BC Lions.
Yeah, and this is a tremendous two-man route between Jermaine Copeland and Kenyon Rambo. Rambo goes vertical. You see Copeland go to the flat. That holds the corner. Younger down low, trying to cover Copeland coming to him. That allows Rambo to go vertical and get in behind before help can come over the top.
Eskimos bit on that pump fake as well, and Kenyon Rambo. Sensational week last week. 8 catches, 136 yards, and a touchdown. To the right side this time for Summers. And another one-handed grab here, close to a first down. On the final play of the first quarter. Now, there was a penalty flag on the far sideline. That might have been a little rough play on Summers as he was knocked out of bounds.
Well, from the backfield, you see Summers to the right side of your screen. Just a straight shoot route from the backfield. Times it up. Nice one-handed catch.
Oh, it's a face mask call right there.
Yeah, you saw Lenny Williams come over the top.
Darryl Barron again.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton, number 9. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So the quarter cannot end on a penalty, so there will be one more play at least. And let's take another look as this moves it into the red zone for the Stampeders.
And Lenny Williams gets caught tackling up high. Not an intentional face mask, but when you go high like that as opposed to going around the waist, that's a risky run.
Again, final play, first quarter. To the end zone. Oh, what a catch and a touchdown, Jermaine Copeland.
Jermaine Copeland tied for the league lead with 10 touchdown receptions a year ago, picking up where he left off here in 2008.
Well, they've been toning down those touchdown celebrations, but there was reason to celebrate there for Jermaine Copeland. This was a beautiful catch, and he was the intended target all along.
Jermaine Copeland lines up in the slot to that short side of the field. Nice corner route, stems it to the post. Keith Williams, a halfback, bites, giving Jermaine Copeland all kinds of room to that corner.
First quarter, 7-7. Kelly Campbell, Jermaine Copeland.
Hey, what they gonna do?
Touchdown receptions. Our first quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
You couldn't ask for a more evenly played game between these two provincial rivals. Almost perfectly balanced in those statistics. Edmonton had the momentum early. Calgary took it back in the second half of that quarter.
Big turnover there. Obviously, the fumble by McCarty leads to that, and also the face masking call. But let's talk a little bit about the Edmonton Eskimos, and chatting with Ricky Ray and Danny Macochin, saying how they have to be more aggressive now, and it seems that they are.
Yeah, they certainly are. You've seen them taking some vertical shots, which isn't the typical Ricky Ray offense. Usually you see the crossing routes, a lot of underneath stuff. But recognizing they have to challenge the Calgary Stampeders, they have to go after them. They've done it. They've had a lot of success so far.
Here's a guy who's had a lot of success in end zones through his career, Jermaine Copeland, the former Montreal Alouette, Calgary Stampeder. Sandro DeAngelis kicks off to open his second quarter. 7-7. And that's Matthew Bertrand bringing the ball up close to the 40-yard line. On the sidelines tonight, roaming them for us, is Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine.
Thanks, Rod. Well, you mentioned a lot of slipping and sliding earlier on in the game, and several Eskimos did change their footwear, which is a little surprising since they did practice on Commonwealth natural turf this week. But however, when I asked Wayne Mandrusiak, the head equipment manager of the Eskimos, what cleats were they switching to, he simply said, ones that work. I guess better safe than sorry.
For Tristan Jackson, Kelly Campbell, and now Ricky Ray back at it again. Goes to the air again. Peterson to the 20. There's that aggressiveness again.
Once again, going vertical and coming from all different directions. You're going to see Kamau Peterson come all the way across this formation. Going to line up as your inside receiver to the far side of the field, goes vertical to start and brings it all the way across to the opposite corner of the field. Running through zones, he gets lost, forgotten by those defenders. And on these deep routes, it's not just about the receivers, but also about the guys up front. It can't happen if they don't give them time to throw the ball. They did a terrific job on that play.
Let's see if they can convert in the red zone. Play action, here comes the rush. Nicely done again. Out of the backfield is Damian Anderson. It looks like the Eskimos bounce right back here. That 50-yard gain by Kamau Peterson, the longest offensive play so far in this young season for Danny Macochin and the Eskimos.
Yeah, you have to love the way that they've rebounded, but now it's all about finishing the drive. This is where they've run into problems, even dating back to last year. You see those red zone issues. 3 opportunities in there last week, coming away with only 3s, coming away with field goals all 3 times. They want to punch it in. Let's see if that aggressive trend continues for Ricky Ray.
Anderson's in the backfield. Ray's throwing again, though. Inside zone. It's Campbell, another touchdown. Oh, my. What a night for him.
Well, just when the Edmonton Eskimos have that stamped secondary thinking all Kelly Campbell's going to run are go routes, here they line him up. Single receiver to the short side of the field. Campbell's going to drag all the way across. Brandon Browner's in coverage, but he's got to go through so much traffic he can't stay with them. Easy dump for Ricky Ray and Kelly Campbell.
Well, safe to say Kelly Campbell's going to become a fan favorite around here. First 2 touchdowns in the Canadian Football League. 27-year-old out of Atlanta, Georgia. As a pair here tonight, Eskimos lead 14-7.
That's another for your mama, Kanisha, Antoine, Daz, Kaylee, my baby, and Aisha. Wow! Thank you, Jesus. Be back, baby.
Why not? Why not? Guy comes here with some credentials, though. This guy can play. He can catch the football. He did in the National Football League.
Yeah, and before that, even at college, Georgia Tech, major Division I program. He holds most of the receiving records there. Of course, had some solid seasons in the NFL, particularly with the Minnesota Vikings. Kelly Campbell's been around a little bit. He knows how to play the game.
Dimitri Summers again. Finds a seam and hit hard, but does not go down. And then finally taken down near the 35-yard line. Noel Prefontaine in on that hit, said he hadn't been getting any hits as a special team player. Let's take a look at the TD now.
Yeah, Campbell's the closest man to the line of scrimmage. Just a drag route across where he's going to get lost in traffic. A lot of bodies close to the line. Difficult for defenders to stay with their man there. It's a great opportunity. You can use speed one of two ways to get open. One obviously is just going vertically, running by people. You can also use it to lose people working across the field. See Rick Roman utilizing both those methods very well thus far.
Going to the ground on first time back after this touchdown. Joffrey Reynolds piling up some more yardage here and getting close to another first down. 8 yards on the carry.
And Joffrey Reynolds is such a terrific workhorse. With running backs, we talk about yak yards as being yards after contact. Joffrey Reynolds is the master of this. Rarely does the first man bring this guy down. Low center of gravity, he keeps the legs moving, always fighting for yards, and he's got that tremendous balance.
Second and short now. This time stuffed. And depending on the spot, it looks like it's still going to be a third down play here for the Stampeders. Henry Burris is looking to the sideline. Looks like it could be a long yard. And doesn't look again like they're going to go after this.
Well, playing it safe here in the early going, anticipating a close game. John Huffnagel is just playing it by the book so far, especially given the field position here. You don't want to risk a turnover within the field goal range already of Noel Prefontaine.
Tristan Jackson goes back again. A lot of Burke Dales here tonight. Stampeders down a touchdown early here in the second quarter. The home opener for the Edmonton Eskimos. Last year, lost all 3 meetings with the Stampeders. Swept by the Stamps. Jackson throws 1 tackle. And the Eskimos and Ricky Ray back to work. Ricky Ray's got a good percentage completion tonight, but as he told us yesterday, percentages mean nothing when it comes to getting the W.
Big deal. So maybe that's the mindset that we got to have.
Ricky Ray talking about taking a few more shots and has that taken just like this. Knocked away. Calvin Bannister, who was victimized earlier, knocks that one away.
A terrific break on the ball there by the halfback Calvin Bannister to drive upfield and get that arm across in front of the throw. Well covered on the flat road. Bannister here in his second year in that Calgary Stampeders secondary.
So many newcomers, Dwayne Ford, for both teams. Turnover, and I guess, you know, when you have unsuccessful seasons, even though the Stampeders made the playoffs last year, the ultimate goal was to get to the finals in the Grey Cup. And the Eskimos, of course, not making the playoffs. A lot of work to do here in Edmonton. Ray launches, scoring deep. By Jason Tucker. Big plays tonight from Ricky Ray.
Well, it may have surprised the Stamps a little bit to see Ricky Ray look to Kelly Campbell early and Fred Stamps early. It shouldn't surprise to ever see him throw a deep ball to Jason Tucker. Just a wheel route. Starts off going to the flat or a short out and then turns it upfield. And the ball just dropped in there perfectly. Ricky Ray, always known as a touch quarterback, he demonstrates that there.
That has to be so satisfying to the Eskimos and their faithful. Of course, Jason Tucker, such a big play guy. But last year, his play limited because of knee injuries. Only 792 yards, usually over 1,000 yards a season. Rushes on. First down again for the Eskimos. Ricky Ray recognized the blitz right away.
Well, this play works out almost like a screen pass. They're going to use Damian Anderson from the backfield on the run fake initially. He's going to start up inside. You see him take that run fake. The end, Justin Phillips comes clean. This becomes almost like an option play. If Phillips, the end, stays with Anderson, Ray rolls out and throws. Phillips came upfield. That leaves Anderson open. Ray just dumps it over the end's head for a big game.
9 minutes to go before halftime. Eskimos looking good here so far. Provides that dual threat, not only running the football, but also his ability to catch the football and run with it.
Yeah, Damian Anderson, a very solid receiver out of the backfield. Ricky Ray able to use that a little bit more, particularly now, again, that they've pushed the defense with those deep balls. They've stretched them vertically. That creates levels underneath, and Damian Anderson is the beneficiary of that space.
11 of 15 so far for Ricky Ray. Couple touchdowns. Last week, Ricky Ray threw for only 249 yards, already close to that here tonight. Mentioned Damian Anderson. What a fascinating story he is. A guy who was lucky to be here a few years ago, was in a rollover, a car accident. He's heading to NFL camp and was in intensive care for 14 days, had his spleen removed, a fracture of his eye socket, collapsed lung. He's lucky to walk away from that, really, in many ways, and then play football again, but just lucky to be here. So Damian Anderson, his story, an inspirational one. Here's a penalty flag on 2nd down and 1 yard to go. Damian Anderson played with the Arizona Cardinals over 4 seasons, 19 games. Again, it was a miracle that he survived the crash, first of all, and then later getting to camp only 4 months later.
Yeah, to come back and play football.
Calgary, number 56, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Wendy's Friday Night Football kicks into gear with a doubleheader. Tomorrow night, Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Montreal to take on the Alouettes. Mark Trestman getting his first win last week, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders in BC to take on the Lions. John Huffnagel, not amused so far. Into the red zone again for Ricky Ray and the Esks. Goes deep again to the end zone in the corner route. Could not find Jason Tucker that time on that patented Jason Tucker move to the end zone.
Yeah, this is Edmonton Eskimos' bread and butter over the last several years. Just sending Jason Tucker on that corner route in the red zone. Showing a little bit more variety here tonight before going back to that one. You said it earlier, Rod. So nice for them to have a healthy Jason Tucker back after a tough year last year. Held to under 800 yards for a guy who typically is in that 1,300 range for the Eskimos. And their offense just wasn't the same without him. They lacked that big play threat.
Former Grey Cup MVP. 4-time CFL All-Star. Will they go back to him again? The game clock had gone down to 1 second, but there was some movement, it appeared, on the line.
Procedure, Edmonton, number 63, 5-yard penalty, stays 2nd down.
Joe McGrath moves, so 2nd down now. And they'll move it back a little further, 2nd down and 15. Well, Ricky Ray has not shied away from going to the passing attack here tonight, has he?
Sure hasn't.
This situation dictates it. Ray in some trouble. Still on his feet. Ricky Ray scampering, but really back to the line of scrimmage. But that time a good rush, good heat on Ricky Ray from the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, we'll look for the Stampeders to step up the heat a little bit on Ricky Ray, particularly when they get into that red zone with their backs against the wall, to not allow Ray time to throw those deep balls.
Eyeing up the end zone again. Good coverage from the Stampeders secondary. So now Prefontaine to extend the lead. 6-yard line. And it's now a 10-point Eskimo lead. Stampeders trailing 17-7. 6.5 minutes to go before halftime. Burris fires. Nick Lewis has another reception here tonight. Looks like half the first down yardage.
On this one, Nick Lewis just lines up as the number 3 receiver to the field. And it's just a simple out route. Working on Shannon Garrett, the Sam linebacker. Quick break to the outside. And just timing route between quarterback and receiver. Lewis's second catch of the game.
Kenyon Rambo near side of the screen. Goes to the out pattern. Right in front of the Eskimo bench. Jermaine Copeland.
Continue to see those 2 receivers to the short side of the field. Copeland and Rambo working in tandem out there. Kenyon Rambo providing a deep threat, allowing Jermaine Copeland a little bit of space to work underneath.
Ohio offense. Nice play on the line. Jim Davis, one of the newcomers to the Edmonton Eskimos. That line, again, we talked about. We have not talked much about that guy over the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, Fred Perry coming over from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, where he was their nominee for Outstanding Defensive Player the last 2 seasons. A guy who's expected to provide an impact, not just in terms of rushing the passer, but also against the run. He's had a quiet start here in Green and Gold.
2nd and 10, Ryan Thelwell stretches, and he'll have another first down for Calgary.
Ryan Thelwell doesn't see quite as much playing time as he used to here in the Stampeder offense, but he still is a valuable asset, that veteran presence of mind, recognizing where he is relative to the first down marker. As you saw him fight to pick up the first down.
Thelwell, the former BC line. Again, a lot of continuity offensively, receivers, backs for the Stampeders, but a lot of the rest of the team has changed since last year. Play action, Burris. Out of bounds.
I like the matchup here that the Eskimos have created by using Shannon Garrett, the strong side linebacker, in contain when they're working against Henry Burris. There you see Shannon Garrett in the middle of your screen. He's kind of mirroring Henry Burris here, but usually Burris is working against defensive ends where he's got a speed advantage on that guy, where he can sprint and beat him to the outside. Not so against Shannon Garrett, a converted defensive back, a guy with a reputation as a terrific cover man. He's not going to get beaten to the outside.
Here's the rush again. Burris rolling. Nobody open. He has to carry himself. Dives forward. Did he get the first down or not?
Field next time. Field next time.
On the far side of the field. But that's what Henry Burris can do as well, that threat. His ability to take off with the football, and it looks like this might be going against the Stampeders.
Calgary, number 58. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Antonio Hall.
Well, this is a scramble that's forced by the coverage of the Edmonton Eskimos secondary. You see these receivers downfield, everyone covered like glue. Burris recognizes that, has got to use his legs to try and make something positive out of it. Great defense by the Eskimos, good decision by Henry Burris in response.
So now 2nd down and 20 yards to go after the holding call. Antonio Hall for the first-year players for the Stampeders. Left tackle. Burris is at it. Jim Davis with the sack. A guy who was cut by the Calgary Stampeders last year. Henry Burris complaining that he might have been face masked on the play.
You're going to see Jim Davis, number 96. He's working on the right guard, Zumpas. Beats him to the outside.
And, you know, he might have something to argue about right here. Take a look at this.
First
right
man.
there. Montez Murphy. He got a couple shots in the grill there. High snap, Dales, and a wobbler. Dales is in pursuit of the football. No yards call, so some yardage tacked on here. Inside 3 minutes before halftime. Henry Burris may have had a point. Good pressure by the Edmonton D-line. May have gotten away with one there.
Yeah, it looked like Henry Burris's face mask might have been at the very least touched, if not grabbed. Incidental contact from Montez Murphy initially. But Jim Davis able to capitalize as Burris was left reeling a little bit from that and delivered the sack. It's been a great find in the early going for the Edmonton Eskimos. Very solid against the run last week, delivering a little bit of push on the pass rush here in week 2.
Yeah, a little redemption for him as well. Released by the Stampeders last year, and the Eskimos thought about him so much this year they were able to cut Ron Warner. Davis does the job. Ricky Ray with good field position to start here. Ray out of the backfield for Anderson again. That play's worked to perfection so far here tonight. Damian Anderson, another little dump screen, but it's been the big pass, the big play. That's worked best so far for the Esks.
Yeah, the Edmonton Eskimos, led by Ricky Ray, came into this game with a mentality. They were going to attack the Calgary Stampeders defense with some deep routes. You saw the touchdown to Kelly Campbell. You saw Kamau Peterson, and of course, Jason Tucker on that patented corner route, spreading the ball around. You see the numbers to go along with it. Thus far, 12 of 17, 212 yards already after just having 249 in week 1.
Anderson takes it right side, but he's going to be stopped short of the first down on 2nd down and 3. And I don't think Danny Machocha is going to gamble here. Noel Prefontaine will come out and punt this ball away.
Stampeders are going to leave that defense on the field as both teams, given this field position, are going to play it a little bit safe.
Only the second time that Prefontaine has had to punt the ball away here tonight. Marcus Howell is back. Late stages of the second quarter. Howell watches it go over his head and will give up another point. (18-7) now. Eskimos, 1:35 to go in the first half. TSN's coverage of Wimbledon continues tomorrow, featuring men's semifinal action live from center court. Coverage begins 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. They played the longest match in Wimbledon history earlier today. Rainer Schüttler over Renaud Clement. Brock Ralph, sideline for the Eskimos. There's his brother Brett and Raymond Alberta watching here tonight. That pass behind Kenyon Rambo.
Kenyon Rambo lined up as a single receiver to the short side of the field, a situation which creates man-to-man coverage with the corner, Jordan Younger. This is just going to be a replay between quarterback and receiver based on the depth, the position of that defensive back. Obviously, quarterback and receiver weren't seeing the exact same thing there.
Stampeders not quite in sync like they were offensively against the BC Lions, at least not yet. Burris out of the pocket, has it picked off. Shannon Garrett at the 30. Garrett to the 20-yard line. That kind of night so far for the Eskimos, offensively and defensively.
Well, Shannon Garrett follows this route across the entire football field. Lines up on the number 3 receiver, Nick Lewis, who runs the crossing route. As Lewis is forced to hold up for that ball, Garrett is able to come underneath and make the play. Big block here by Shabazz and Murphy. Those defenders always trained on an interception. Somebody go get a hit on the quarterback.
again in the red zone thanks to the turnover. Stampeders scored their touchdown on a turnover earlier. The reverse, Kelly Campbell lost it. Little razzle-dazzle there that almost backfired on the Eskimos. Whoops.
Well, Danny Machocha shaking his head. Could have been much worse for the Eskimos here. Just see the run fake to the back. Anderson. Campbell's coming around on that end around. But you've got a guy who's not used to taking a lot of handoffs as a receiver. And the exchange was flubbed.
Loss of 10 on the play. Campbell has 2 touchdowns here tonight. Final minute. Draw play. And this works out in a big way. Calvin McCarty close to a first down. And the Eskimos catch the Stampeders napping in pass coverage.
Well, and this is all a big part of the chess game that goes on between offensive and defensive coordinators. The Edmonton Eskimos in this part of the field have attacked downfield so far in the game. Calgary is thinking pass, pass, pass. Everybody backs off. All the defensive linemen are thinking rush and get upfield, and that creates a terrific lane for Calvin McCarty on the draw play.
3rd down and almost 3 yards to go. And Noel Prefontaine is not out on the field right now. He's on the sideline, kind of warming up. Edmonton letting the clock come down to a second, and they're going to call a timeout. And Prefontaine will come out. So they will expand their lead and get some points here after the interception. Talking with Shannon Garrett yesterday, I know, found it kind of interesting about how much study work Shannon Garrett does. The video that he works on to know, to disguise plays as a linebacker sometimes in coverage. And he's a guy who's very studious, a veteran of the Edmonton Eskimos, and it worked.
Yeah, he sure is. That preparation is such a big part of his game. And one of the important things that Shannon Garrett brings to this defense is that experience. Players learn from other players. And when you have a guy who leads by example, doing the little things like that, like Shannon Garrett, it rubs off on your young guys.
Prefontaine puts it through. 30 seconds to go before halftime. And the Edmonton Eskimos, 21, Calgary 7. Far cry from what was last week when the Eskimos failed to score a touchdown, could not convert in the red zone, and I would have to consider this a surprise going into the second half.
Yeah, no question. When you look at what both of these teams did last week, that Calgary defense was so active, flying all over the field, 12 guys to the ball, making plays everywhere. The Edmonton Eskimos came out here today with a game plan that matched what the Calgary Stampeders were doing, recognizing that if Calgary was going to be aggressive, the only way for them to answer that was to be aggressive. The one way to beat that big play from a defense is by coming up with big plays offensively.
It is a game of adjustments week to week, a game of adjustments year to year in Calgary. And look at all of the players no longer with the Stampeders. And a big one there is Scott Coe, who's still not playing football.
Yeah, such a huge turnover over the course of a year, but this is what happens when you've got a team that struggles. Defensive coordinator Denny Crehan, of course, cost him his job before the end of last season. Once it got into the offseason, that cleaning of house continued with the players on the field.
Marcus Howell has it, 25 seconds to go, and so a surprising night to begin week 2. So far, the Edmonton Eskimos looking again early in the season. It's so hard to say upset sometime, but the way the Eskimos have been playing, losing 7 in a row dating back to last year, not playing very well at the beginning of the week. And how about the game tonight in Toronto where the Hamilton Tiger Cats showed their stuff and got the win for Charlie Taft?
Yeah, and this parity is really the theme in the Canadian Football League. You've got some teams that over the course of 18 games, of course, are going to appear stronger than others, but in any given week, any one team can beat any other, and we're seeing that here in the early going.
Stampeders are choosing to run the clock down and go into the locker room and then make some of their adjustments. But our panel is standing by. They'll talk about game 1 tonight. What a night for Jesse Lumsden and the Tiger Cats as he romped Casey Printers and company and Danny Machocha. Can the Eskimos get their first win in a long time. Of course, that guy was on the shelf near the end of last season with that separated shoulder. He's looked awfully good here in this first half. So a couple touchdowns by Kelly Campbell. Ricky Ray on fire here. The Eskimos taking it to the Stampeders 21-7 at the half.
Streak that dates back to last season. Dave, Jock, Matt, and Chris. And when Edmonton does things offensively, when they click offensively, it doesn't come as a real surprise. We know they got the weapons, Matty. Ricky Ray's got Jason Tucker and Kamau Peterson. And now, out of Georgia Tech University, we finally see Kelly Campbell.
That's right. You know, we saw him in training camp, Dave, and this guy was a threat in training camp. Actually, when he was running down the field, everybody just stopped and watched in awe on the guy's speed. He has that much presence, he has that much ability, and finally we're seeing it week 2. We thought we were going to see it last week in Saskatchewan, but it was non-existent. But Ricky Ray started pushing the ball down the field, and why not? Every time this guy caught the ball, he scored. Get the ball to Kelly Campbell. Hey, I didn't sleep at Holiday Inn Express last night, but I can figure that out, Dave. Get the ball to Kelly. Look at that. Peterson on a climb route. You got to love that, huh, Jock?
Yeah, I love that pattern. It's my favorite pattern. You better be running a lot of it, and you better be going vertical when this is what you're getting along the line of scrimmage. Bump and run coverage by the Calgary Stampeders. I haven't seen a team play this much bump and run, this much man-to-man, this consistently in a long time. I mean, I love a team to be aggressive defensively, but you better be running wheels and ladders and crossers against that kind of man-to-man, Matty.
And what an easy read for Ricky Ray when everybody's walked up in line of scrimmage 4 yards away from the receiver they're going to be covering. I mean, you're licking your chops as a quarterback like that, Schultz. And once you get that vertical game going, everything underneath opens up.
It really does. In this case, it opens up for Damian Anderson, a really good running back out of Northwestern, 5'11", 220 pounds. And all those deep routes open up those areas underneath. But what makes this running back a little special is he's very decisive and he's very physical. First and foremost, you see those deep patterns, everything before those deep patterns will open up for the running backs time and time again. Once again, Ray goes deep. That opens up the other avenues. Kelly Campbell is going to be a threat the entire year in the Canadian Football League, every single game, because he's got the speed, and so does Kamau Peterson to make these plays work. So surprising to find Ray throwing the ball deep, but that was what the Canadian Football League is about. It's not about sustained drives. It's about throwing that football deep. If they continue to do so, Edmonton's got a great shot to win this game.
In terms of their backfield, Edmonton let go A.J. Harris, a guy with big-time speed. They let go Ron McClendon, and Anderson has taken the ball and running with it. What is Calgary not doing that they were doing last week, Jock?
Well, hey, they're pushing the ball down the field, too. I mean, it's not like they're not being aggressive. I think Reynolds was an impact early, but they haven't been using him lately because I think they've been concerned about their inability to grab big chunks of yardage. But Henry Burris is going to do this with the kind of weapons he's got. I mean, Rambo had an outstanding game last week, and he's picked up where he left off. Copeland is the guy they needed to get going, though. And he needed to get him scoring again, and they've got him doing that tonight. 2 touchdowns for the Calgary Stampeders. That's nothing.
Dave, you asked a question. I got to say Edmonton defense.
Yeah.
You got to say Edmonton defense stepped up and pressured Burris, and then Edmonton offense. Best defense sometimes is the offense keeping the ball away from Henry Burris and his weapons.
Shannon Garrett with a late interception, which led to a field goal. The one touchdown that Calgary has scored came off an Edmonton turnover. It was a fumble by Calvin McCarty, ended up in the end zone there. There was Copeland at the end of it, and Ricky Ray got a new friend. He's Kelly Campbell, and it's 21-7.
Look at this, 105 yards in passing, 7 points, 212 yards, 21 points. Welcome to the Canadian Football League, Dave.
Yeah, earlier tonight was game 1, Chris, in Toronto. Hamilton Tiger Cats lost last week at home to Montreal. Toronto has smoked them in the last 9 meetings, but it was a different story tonight. Casey Britter stumbles over the goal line. They called that a touchdown, no problem. He had a couple of touchdown runs. He's actually touched before he got across the line, but you know what? They gave it to him, and it didn't matter because Hamilton, they were in full control tonight. Check out Jesse Lumsden, 2 touchdowns in the second. This spectacular 57-yard romp, part of a 189-yard rushing effort for the Ticats. They win it in Toronto. Is this a major corner turning here for Hamilton or what?
Lots to build on for the Tigers.
Well, Charlie Taft said he wanted what? To
break the cycle. And they did.
They certainly did.
Jay, it was impressive. I don't think Argo fans are happy. What's the matter?
I'm trying to find my position here.
Back at Edmonton Commonwealth Stadium, TSN, the exclusive broadcaster of the CFL and proud home of the Grey Cup, getting ready for third quarter action. The Eskimos in their home opener leading 21-7. Kelly Campbell on the bike. It's been Kelly Campbell in the end zone twice tonight.
Yeah, Kelly Campbell filling the role that was formerly occupied by Ed Hervey, the speed guy in this offense. First quarter beats Calvin Bannister to the inside on a straight go route. Touchdown. That's his first one. Second one, continuing to use his speed on a crossing route. Calgary defense fails to get any hands on him. Way too easy for a speedster like Kelly Campbell. 2 touchdowns in the first half. Warming up for the second half, looking for a little more.
Henry Burris, not as effective as last week. Stampeder offense has kind of sputtered here tonight. The Eskimo defense has done a nice job. Noel Prefontaine will kick this off. Marcus Howell, Demetrius Summers, both back for the Stampeders. Reversal of fortune from last week when the Stampeders played so well against the BC Lions and the Eskimos struggled against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Second half underway now. Summers along the sideline. And good field position here for Henry Burris and the Stampeders to start quarter number 3.
It'll be interesting to see how the Calgary Stampeders come out here to start this, facing adversity under John Huffnagel for the first time. Again, early in the season, but there seemed to be a lot of hype with the way the Calgary Stampeders played last week. So talked about. This is their first real test of the season, how they respond to being down 14 at the half.
Saw a lot of Joffrey Reynolds in the first half. Will we see more here in the second? They start with him. Reynolds breaks one. Big gain here for Joffrey Reynolds.
Bit of a change right off the bat from the Calgary Stampeders. Typically a team that attacks the outside, or typically attacks between the tackles in the run game. Here they're going to get a little bit of stretch. You see the right guard, Dimitri Zumpas, right here, big block on the will linebacker. Sadiq Shabazz kicks him out, creates just enough space for Joffrey Reynolds to get his shoulders turned upfield. We know what he can do when he gets that opportunity.
Zumpas, the #1 pick. Second overall. Going deep now, and that... There is a flag on the play, and that was very close to pass interference, and it probably is here. Brett Ralph was the intended target, but number 9, Lenny Williams, looked like he had no intention of going after the football there.
Pass interference. Edmonton, number 23. First down.
Interesting that this call comes far away from the ball. But Shannon Garrett is going to line up as your number 3, covering number 3 receiver Nick Lewis on the inside. Just a little clutch and grab as you saw his arms go around the chest.
And that very well could have been pass interference too. Regardless, to the 20. Play action over the middle. And a strike for Jermaine Copeland. Fumble. Ryan Thelwell smothers it. The Stampeders hang on.
Very fortunate break for the Calgary Stampeders. For a positive play, the fumble almost very costly given this field position. Great hustle by Ryan Thelwell. Jermaine Copeland is going to come from the short side of the field, right side of your screen on a quick under route. Gets that inside position on the halfback Williams, but Williams keeps fighting and strips the ball.
Stampeders fortunate to hang on here. Now first and goal. Burris behind center with twin backs. Might this be Joffrey Reynolds' time again? It is. Touchdown. But there is a penalty flag on the far side of the field. Actually, a couple of flags down here, and let's see what Darryl Barron has to say. Maybe some movement on the line.
Offside, Edmonton. Penalties declined. Touchdown.
So the Calgary Stampeders come out firing here in this third quarter. Joffrey Reynolds, a couple of big runs by him, and pass interference call that aided the drive, and Reynolds takes it to the house.
A situation where you get down, need your best players to have the ball in their hands, and it's going to be Joffrey Reynolds in the second half.
And did it ever get quiet around here? Very quiet in Commonwealth as the Stampeders move closer.
By a heads-up play by veteran receiver Ryan Thelwell. See the completion here to Jermaine Copeland coming underneath. He takes a big pop. Keith Williams strips that ball. Thelwell fights past his man, Jonte Buell, basically throws him out of the way to get to that football, keep the Stamps drive alive, and sets up that touchdown for Joffrey Reynolds.
(21-14) now. Tristan Jackson twists his way to the 39-yard line. And so this will be interesting to see how Ricky Ray and the Eskimos handle this bit of adversity now that the Stampeders are breathing down their necks.
Yeah, this has been a game that's seen a couple of shifts back and forth between the teams in terms of momentum. Edmonton Eskimos have answered the bell every time they've been challenged so far. This is just the latest challenge for them. Let's see how they respond.
Good numbers for Ricky Ray so far here tonight. Early third quarter. Seen lots of offense, some spectacular playmaking on the ground and in the air here tonight. Home opener at Commonwealth Stadium. Ray unloads again. Another deep ball. What a play at the last minute. Brandon Smith takes a reception away from Jason Tucker.
But just man-to-man coverage here. The halfback Brandon Smith on the slot back Jason Tucker. Calgary Stampeders know from their film and history over the years, Jason Tucker loves to run that corner route. Brandon Smith gets on it, gets underneath. Little slip and fall at the end, but he still managed to get that hand up just enough to get the fingertips on that football.
Yeah, that might have been one or two fingers that took that away. Sure-handed Jason Tucker would have had another big play here tonight. Second down and 10 now from the Eskimo 39. Over the middle this time for Campbell. Another first down.
Well, the good news for the Calgary Stampeders is that at least this time when Kelly Campbell touched the ball, it didn't go for 6. First time tonight, of course, his first 2 were majors. The bad news is they've still got to find a way to figure this guy out. Kelly Campbell lines up out wide. Good run at the ball so he can use that speed, learning to use that motion well. Again, beats his defender, this time Brandon Smith, to the inside. Got to protect the inside. Get hands on Kelly Campbell.
Ricky Ray calls his own number and takes a big hit there. Dwayne Carpenter put his head down and got Ricky Ray. Ray really on that play looked like he was thinking run the whole way.
You just saw Dwayne Carpenter as Ricky Ray rolled out there, knowing he's not the most elusive quarterback in the league when he gets in the open field. Carpenter had time to coil up and strike on that one.
Second down and 4 now. Oh, man, what a hit there. Mike Lubinjo stuffs the Eskimos and will stop the drive in their tracks.
Well, Mike Lubinjo has been such a find for the Calgary Stampeders, a guy who they drafted way back in 2003, spent a couple years in the NFL before finally arriving in Calgary last year. Couldn't find his way into the regular defense last season, but this year has made the most of his opportunity, taking most of his snaps at defensive end, but also filled in at middle linebacker last week after Salim Rashid went down. Versatile defender who's really making an impact here.
Prefontaine tries to angle one, and it goes into the end zone for the single point. 10 minutes to go, third quarter. Burris back to work when we come back. Dave Dickinson is back. Who knows? Maybe we'll even see him here tonight. The former BC Lion. A guy who's been a star in this league for such a long time, and now a guy who never wanted to be a backup in BC is backing up Henry Burris as a mentor. Burris comes out with a strike here to Kenyon Rambo. But what a mentor he is, Dave Dickinson, who is accepting his role in Calgary.
Life gives you different paths, and I'm on a different one right now, and I like it still. It is different. I find that sometimes I've had to, bite my tongue on what to say and how I want to run certain things, and even suggestions to Coach Cortez, because I want to make sure that Henry is the one that the plays are run like he wants them.
Henry hands off to Demetrius Summers. How would you like to have Dave Dickinson and a John Huffnagel helping you out?
Yeah, fantastic offseason acquisitions to help boost the performance of Henry Burris. And when I spoke to Henry during the offseason, it was shortly after his first meeting with Huffnagel, Dickinson, and George Cortez, and all Henry could say was, wow, the knowledge in that room that I have to draw on. He was just thrilled. There's not a more cerebral player in the Canadian Football League than Dave Dickinson, and the fact that he and Henry Burris have a history of friendship has also made this a comfortable situation for both.
2nd and 7. Burris in some trouble, dances out of the pocket. Here come the Eskimos. Look out now. He's going to have to throw it away. There's a flag downfield. And an incomplete pass. We'll have to sort out the penalty. Henry Burris, however, came in with a new focus this year, too, and a new body.
Yeah, Henry Burris gained about 15 pounds of muscle, spent a little bit of time in Phoenix, training in the offseason, make himself a little bit more durable, reducing that risk of injuries.
George Cortez and Dave Dickinson.
Yeah, that's a great matchup.
Likely a holding call against the Stampeders.
Holding, Calgary, number 58. Penalties decline, 3rd down.
It's a good thing he got rid of that ball, because that might have been a 30-yard loss.
Yeah, and this is the risk that you have when you have a scrambling quarterback like Henry Burris. Remember, because of the way guys are facing, the offensive linemen can't see where their quarterback is, and they lose their angles, whereas the defenders can see, and they move around in positions that sometimes force the O-lineman to lose those angles, and they have to grab to stay alive.
Eskimo newcomer Tristan Jackson back. Bert Dales, penalty flag flying. Little backspin on this kick. Jackson swallowed up at his 22-yard line. That was back near the line of scrimmage. And it goes against the Calgary Stampeders. A little false start there.
Illegal formation, Calgary. That penalties decline. No yards, Calgary, number 27. 5-yard penalty, Edmonton, 1st down.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Nissan's Make the Call. Play on cfl.nissan.ca for your chance to win a trip to the Grey Cup. Long way to that Grey Cup game in Montreal. A lot of ebb and flow and a lot of heat on this man here, Danny Machocha. His team has the lead heading into the 2nd half, but they have not performed very well in this losing streak that they've been in the 2nd half.
Yeah, 120-56. They've been outscored in the 2nd half during those 7 consecutive losses. And this calls into question the coaching staff. You have to wonder a little bit if they're having a problem making adjustments at halftime. Able to compete consistently in the 1st half of games, but when you see this sort of trend happen in the 2nd half, it shows that they're not adapting. They're not adjusting very well to what the other team is doing when they make their halftime adjustments.
Let's see how it plays out here tonight. Ricky Ray in the shotgun again. Tighter formation this time. Goes to the out pattern to Fred Stamps. Stamps has a first down.
That's a long throw for Ricky Ray to throw that wide side out. But the Calgary secondary giving Fred Stamps a pretty big cushion here. Slide protection, so he's got a little half roll. 3 steps and throw it right on time. Fred Stamps makes the catch in front of Dwight Anderson.
Near side this time for Stamps. Play action for Ray, rolling to his left. Another out pattern here. Kamal Peterson. And there's a penalty flag. That was in the middle of the field. And it looks like it might be going against the Stampeders here, at least according to the Eskimos. It's very close to the first down, Dwayne. See what the penalty is. Coach Huff, as they call him. One thing he has instilled here in Calgary is a sense of discipline as well.
Yeah, it's been a big difference, and not just a difference on game day in terms of what they do, but they practice this discipline all week long.
No nonsense guy, he says. Penalties have been a problem for the Stampeders in the past.
Illegal interference, blocking downfield before the pass was caught. Edmonton, number 56. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Patrick Kabongo looks a little bit stunned by that call.
A little pick play or something like that downfield.
Well, it was a play that was slow to develop with Ricky Ray on that sprint out, breaking outside the pocket. The accusation that Kabongo got downfield and threw a block before the pass was actually caught. Don't know if number 56 is buying it, but it's not really his choice.
Well, first down and 20 now, which was close to a first down in the midfield. Ray in a hole now. Calvin McCarty again. McCarty, a great block there. Nice pickup here.
But you're going to see a great job downfield by the left guard, number 59, Calvin Armstrong, on this play. Keep an eye on him on the screen. Going to count 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. Let the rushers get upfield. And away we go. There he is. Tough for a big man to block a small man in space because of that agility disadvantage he's at. Armstrong does a great job getting down and getting into the legs of Calvin Bannister.
Second down and 5 now. Good protection for Ray again. Campbell again. Big gainer to the 40-yard line of the Stampeders. 4th catch tonight for Kelly Campbell. And he is becoming a hero here in Commonwealth Stadium.
And again, it's going to be Kelly Campbell using that speed this time to come across the field. Uses his motion real well. He's usually the deepest guy, so he gets a good run at it. But he forces that defender to run through traffic. That's Brandon Smith having to fight around, not a pick from an Eskimo defender, but a number of Calgary bodies there, just using the defenders as picks for him, and then using his speed to beat Smith across the field.
That has been a constant tonight, his ability to outrun players. Ray to his left again. Andrew Milwaukee. His first reception tonight, another first down. Eskimos on a roll here.
The Calgary Stampeders need to do a better job against Ricky Ray of maintaining contain. That means keeping him within the pocket. Sometimes this is forgotten because Ricky Ray's not a scrambling quarterback. People label him as a pocket passer. The fact is, you let him get to the outside, he doesn't have to find throwing lanes. He doesn't need to throw it over top of big bodies. He's got a clear line to his receiver, and he makes that out route a shorter throw because he's able to get outside.
The speed demon is on the sidelines right now. 51 yards, 5 plays. Ray launching, end zone. Close coverage there, Jason Tucker. Ricky Ray has used 8 different receivers tonight.
Well, this is classic Ricky Ray. Once again, they're going back to that corner, trying to get it to Jason Tucker. Calvin Bannister Looks like pretty good coverage. He may have gotten away with one here, as you're just going to see that right hand. A little bit of cloth. Gave him a little bit of tug, slowed him down as Tucker tried to fight back to the ball, but just couldn't make that break.
Yo.
Well, there he is. Kelly Campbell, 2 touchdowns already, his first 2 in the Canadian Football League. Might it be his time again? Ray for Campbell. What a night. Can't stop this guy.
And ladies and gentlemen, a star is born. Number 71, Kelly Campbell. We've heard Matt Dunnigan talk about this guy since training camp, since visiting the Eskimos camp. Here he's using that speed, and you see how he backs off the defensive back Bannister, because now there's that respect, because he's threatened deep so many times, and that chemistry, communication between quarterback and receiver, their timing is on. Great throw by Ricky Ray to hit him right in that hole.
Campbell limped off the field that time. He's been doing a lot of running, mind you, here tonight. So now, the pitch. Anderson wrapped up. Nowhere to go. Little counter play that time that did not work for the Eskimos, and the Stampeders read it all the way.
Yeah, give big credit here to number 29, Dwayne Carpenter. He's the Sam linebacker on this one. You're going to see him right here. He doesn't bite on the first dive fake to the fullback, Matthew Bertrand. He knows his responsibility. Play the option, play that tailback. He almost got there in time to take that pitch. Terrific job by Carpenter.
Dwayne Carpenter's been a force here tonight, and so now 3:45 to go in the third quarter. A big play here for the Eskimos. Here in the red zone. Drives that failed last week. Can they punch it in again? Ray. Incomplete, looking for Tucker. Brandon Smith there covering Jason Tucker.
The Eskimos kept it pretty simple there as they tried to get the clearing route with Fred Stamps on the outside. As you saw him talking to Jason Tucker, they were working in combination there. Stamps had the clearing route, the deep route, and they tried to hit Tucker on the out coming underneath that. Good coverage there by Brandon Smith, the halfback.
This is what happened to the Eskimos. Mind you, they're going to come away with some points here, and they still have the lead. But after a couple of big plays, they only get 3. Still, they have a nice lead here in the third quarter, 25-14. Ricky Ray with Stephon LaFours. Played a lot in place of Ray late last season. Opportunities tonight in the red zone. 3 field goals and a touchdown, but they'd like to have a few more numbers in that TD area.
Yeah, they've been given some opportunities here in terms of field position, both through turnovers, big plays as well by their offense, setting them up. Got to capitalize on this.
Prefontaine. And the Stampeders and Henry Burris will have good field position again. Well, that red zone has been a dead zone for Ricky Ray and the Eskimos this season. Very deflating when you take it all the way down the field and end up with that field goal.
It was real frustrating. I mean, we put some good solid drives together and could only come away with 3. And when you do that, it's a win for the defense. I mean, when you're beating them up and down the field and they hold you to 3 points, they're taking that as a win. And their confidence builds, and offensively we're like, man, we just blew a good drive. So it's huge. If you can finish those drives with touchdowns, it's just a backbreaker for the other team.
Now let's see how Henry Burris, after their defense wins there, responds and goes back to Joffrey Reynolds, who continues to put up some big yardage here early in the season. Burris tonight, 11 for 16, 134 yards. Second down, 4 yards to go here. Ball right on the midfield stripe. Twin backs now in motion. Burris over the middle. Demetrius Summers with a nice one-hander. That's the second time tonight. And there's a penalty flag in the backfield. And Burris might have taken a low blow here. This might even add more yardage on to this reception.
Yeah, it appeared Jim Davis, the defensive tackle.
Foul, roughing the passer. Edmonton, number 96. 15-yard penalty at the end of the play. First down.
The newcomer. Let's take a look here, Dwayne.
Yeah, you're going to see Davis. It's not a late hit, but it's a low hit. When that quarterback is in the pocket as a passer, any tackler is required to tackle him in what they call the strike zone, basically between the knees and the shoulders. In that case, Davis was falling down. He ended up going low on Burris. Huge risk of injuries for the quarterback in that case. Got to protect the passer, so that one's a flag.
2 minutes to go here, third quarter. Ryan Felwell lunging for a first down, and just like the last drive, a penalty-assisted drive for the Calgary Stampeders that resulted in a touchdown. Maybe a chance here again as you see those red lenses in the eyes of Henry Burris.
Short yardage situation. They bring in the big team here.
Those lenses, by the way, used a lot by pro baseball players. I know Brian Roberts used them for a while. Some players in the NFL really like them because, again, diffuses the light a little bit. You don't have to wear the eye black.
Yeah, the problem with the eye black is so many people now have gone to the stickers that they put under their eyes. But as you sweat, sometimes those things become a problem. They start to slide on you. The contact lenses are a little more low maintenance for Henry Burris.
Second down, 4 yards. Eskimos need a big stop here. Maybe a win for their D. There's the stop. Sadiq Shabazz is in there, but let's see where the spot is. That's the important thing right now.
Bear in mind as well, this is just a second down play. So if the Stampeders can make this close, you got to believe that they're going to go for it here. You see Shabazz right in the middle of the screen. He's going to come across, sliding to the ball. Terrific form tackle. See him get a good wide base, get nice and low, which you got to do against Joffrey Reynolds, and drive him back.
Well, once again, John Hufnagel decides to go for the points here, not gambling. Sandro DeAngelis, third and a long yard. And so, similar to what happened to the Eskimos, the Stampeders, the best they're going to do here is 3 from DeAngelis. Most accurate kicker in CFL history, Sandro DeAngelis. Hufnagel takes the 3. We have an 8-point game in Commonwealth. So the chess game continues here. Home opener at Commonwealth Stadium, the Battle of Alberta, the first of 3 this season. Eskimos take the ball on their 35 after the field goal by Sandro DeAngelis. 50 seconds to go. Third quarter, Campbell again! And the ball was not caught.
Well, Kelly Campbell in this case used his motion to get open here, and again, just speed. He has nice separation on the defensive back Brandon Smith, but that ball hung up a little bit, which allowed Smith time to recover. If Ricky Ray had just been able to lead his speed man Kelly Campbell a little bit more on that one, he might still be running.
Matt Dunnigan's been lauding the talents of this guy since he saw him in training camp, and it's obvious he has blazing speed. He has been limping a lot coming off the field here tonight. He's been used as their 5th receiver. But what a dynamic player this guy is. We've seen it here tonight.
Yeah, and he can hurt you in many ways. It's not just a guy who's going to run downfield, but also uses those crossing patterns very well. As a speed guy, when he gets running in traffic, it's hard to stay with him. So they use him coming underneath on those. You see him on a simple post route where he has separation. The defensive back's giving him a cushion because they have to respect that speed. And this is an element that the Edmonton Eskimos offense has lacked basically since the retirement of Ed Hervey. But you throw into that the fact that Jason Tucker has been hampered by a knee injury. That seems to still be something that lingers a little bit. Kelly Campbell brings so much speed to this offense. It's been such a big part of the game plan here tonight. You know, the Eskimos are hoping that this injury isn't too serious.
Yeah, absolutely. The star is born here tonight, but they don't want him to be sidelined. Again, Campbell has been limping a lot after some of the plays here, and don't know if that's part of that. We'll find out. Jermaine Franklin is down there. We'll get a report in a moment. Sack tally, of course, brought to you by Purelator, where business is going. Here are the sack leaders so far this season, updated.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats, the solid performance tonight, adding to their tally.
Fred Perry, guy who was on that list a lot last year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, only 1 tackle in week 1. I don't know if he even has a tackle here tonight.
Yeah, Fred Perry's been strangely quiet, and particularly against a team like the Calgary Stampeders, where he's going to have a chance to rush the passer a little bit. He's going to be important on the edge, trying to keep Henry Burris in the pocket. We all know how Burris loves to run those bootlegs, pull the ball out after the fakes to Joffrey Reynolds. But they need Fred Perry to have a big impact on this defense if the Edmonton Eskimos are going to be successful here this year.
Here comes Campbell. The way they were treating him, he was out there for a long time, mind you, on the far side of the field. The Eskimos crossing their fingers right now. We'll get a report and update in just a moment. 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. Eskimos lead by 8 points. 2nd and 10. Ray again going for Fred Stamps. Fighting down the sidelines. Dwight Anderson shadowing him.
Yeah, straight man coverage. Dwight Anderson facing up against Fred Stamps. Anderson wins that battle hands down. Terrific coverage. Forcing Ricky Ray and the Edmonton Eskimos into a punting situation here.
Should be, barring penalty, the final play of the third quarter. Prefontaine from his 20. Marcus Howell in the background at his 25. Howell now straight ahead, and that's the third quarter. The Edmonton Eskimos a quarter away. Henry Burris trying to get his team on a roll.
Not what we would have expected when you compare the numbers between these two teams. The Eskimos, a team where you were concerned about their receivers coming into this game, producing. Calgary Stampeders with all those weapons struggling to get it going.
Yeah, maybe this is the time now for Henry Burris in this fourth quarter. I mean, the time is now. He's got all those guys around him. And if he does anything close to what he did last week, he may be able to bring his team back.
Yeah, and this is going to be a true test of the maturity, the development of Henry Burris, and recognizing how well he is using all that wealth of knowledge around him here in a critical situation.
We're good.
Burris now. Kenyon Rambo. Rambo held off the scoreboard here tonight. Has had a lot of touchdown catches. Henry Burris, if he's not feeling comfortable here tonight, he certainly feels comfortable when he's on the road, doesn't he?
Henry Burris, a veteran now of these road trips up Highway 2 from Calgary to Edmonton, the 3-hour drive on the bus. There's his pillow, his traveling pillow.
Dummy, by the way, that's his pillow. He's been using that since his days in the NFL. He's had that pillow.
That's a veteran move.
Burris, lots of time here. Now flushed out of the pocket. Nick Lewis with the catch. Good clutch grasp there on 2nd and 3 from Nick Lewis.
Yeah, this is a textbook receiver play from Nick Lewis, helping out his quarterback who's on the scramble, first of all. But in a fight for the ball with Shannon Garrett, you're going to see Nick Lewis go after that ball at its highest point, fight through the arms of Shannon Garrett, and tuck it in, not worry about how he's going to fall, but making sure he protects that football as he goes to the ground, holding it up high, making sure everyone knows that he's caught it, reducing the risk of having it pop out as he lands.
So now a few words with Dave Dickinson. There are the numbers for Henry Burris tonight.
75% completion rate for Henry Burris. But no huge plays tonight. That's been the difference between these two teams.
And again, having so many targets, He's been able to find Jermaine Copeland tonight and Nick Lewis. Joffrey Reynolds has been getting a lot of activity out of the backfield. Kenyon Rambo, this also could be a time where he goes to work. Remember, Rambo has been a fixture in games against the Edmonton Eskimos, and certainly recently, last week, and then even dating back to last season, Kenyon Rambo has been the go-to guy for the Stampeders.
Yeah, he sure has. We talked off the top, Rod, about those 13 touchdowns in his last 12 games. And for as much as there's the reputation of Copeland and Lewis, Kenyon Rambo is the most dangerous guy in this receiving corps right now.
Let's go down to the sidelines now and join Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine.
Thanks, Rod. Well, Kelly Campbell has a bruised contusion on his right knee. The funny thing is, when he was limping earlier on, it was his left leg that was giving him trouble. But right now, it's his right knee, bruised contusion. They weren't clear whether he'll be trying to come back in the game or not.
Trying to stretch it out now. Guy who was in the National Football League for a few years. I would think that he would try to do anything possible. As you can see the bandage on that right knee, and I think he'd try to do anything possible. He's having one of those kind of in the zone nights.
Yeah, he sure is. And from an Edmonton Eskimos point of view, in terms of game plan, with the things Kelly Campbell has done here, you may not want to get him the ball, but pretty good guy to have as a decoy if you can get him out there to run a couple of routes.
Lenny Williams was the injured Eskimo on the field, going to the sidelines. So Henry Burris, lots of time left here in this fourth quarter. Team trailing by 8, coming off a win in week 1, an impressive one over the BC Lions. Reynolds in the backfield. Play action goes over the middle, and they're saying no catch by Kenyon Rambo.
Kenyon Rambo was just unable to close the deal here as he hit the turf. Great job laying out after this one, but couldn't pull it in. You're going to see Rambo come in from the left side of your screen on a quick slant route in behind the linebacker Shabazz. Looks like he has his arms under it, but you see those elbows come apart just as he goes to land. Terrific effort, but watch the elbows come apart and the ball slip through.
Big play again for both sides. Middle again, and another incomplete pass. This time for Nick Lewis. And there's a penalty flag, far side of the field.
It looked like there might have been a jump from that Eskimo D line.
It's like the right side.
Offside. Edmonton, number 41. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Well, there's Fred Perry's name mentioned, but the number mentioned not in the greatest of terms right now for the Edmonton Eskimos.
And there's Fred Perry right at the edge. Watch him end up leaning on this play with the long snap count. Caught him.
Another good call by the officials here tonight. 2nd and 5. Out of the backfield, Reynolds. And he is stopped short. And what will John Huffnagel do this time? Let's see how far. This looks like it's going to be another couple yards. So the punt team coming out once again.
Well, Fred Perry looking to redeem himself a little bit after that offside penalty on the previous play. Terrific pursuit to the football. That time coming all the way from his strong side end position to make a play on the opposite sideline. Fred Perry starts off in the middle of your screen. He's going to come in from the right, all the way across to get in on that tackle on Joffrey Reynolds. That's the Fred Perry that we've known for the last couple years in Saskatchewan.
Quick snap, Bert Dales. Wobbly kick. Comes right back into the hands of Tristan Jackson. Does his little spinorama. Nowhere to go, and so the Eskimos will start deep in their zone here. They lead 25-17, the home opener in Edmonton. Early in the fourth quarter here tonight, Commonwealth Stadium. Smoke wafting overhead after a little fireworks during the commercial. 25-17 Edmonton. Eskimos have to protect the football here too. Damien Anderson slipped up.
Well, they had hurt the Calgary Stampeders defense previously with that little screenplay to Damian Anderson where they freeze them first with the run fake and then bring them across behind the line. Stampeders sniffed it out in a hurry that time. See Calgary defensive coordinator Chris Jones, who made the move over this year from Montreal, has this defense playing well in the early going. Terrific start last week as his energy seemed to rub off on this team.
Second down and 8 yards now. To the flat. And look who's back in the ball game. Did not last long on the sideline. Kelly Campbell, but short of the first down. Juwan Armour in on the tackle. The former Hamilton Tiger Cat came over as a free agent in the offseason.
A nice job here by Juwan Armour. Another guy who can inject some energy into a team in a hurry. Big stop on the hip screen to Campbell there. Important stop for the Calgary Stampeders.
Campbell limps off once again. Marcus Howell gathers it in. And good field position here with a penalty flag on the play. Another infraction here, just over 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Well, good job there by Marcus Howell, recognizing the field position he's in to just catch the ball and get straight upfield and get what he can.
Looks like it's going against the Stampeders.
Holding. Calgary, number 8 on the run back. 10-yard penalty, Calgary ball, first down.
So it moves the ball back into Calgary territory. They will start at their 50, trailing by 8 when we come back to Commonwealth Stadium on TSN.
Shop at Safeway. Swipe your club card and play Safeway $1 Million Touchdown to win. You could win the Pentax Opio V10 Ultra Slim Compact Digital Camera with an impressive 3-inch LCD screen, 8 megapixels, and 3x optical zoom. Get in the game at Safeway.
Brownie batter blizzard, brownie batter blizzard, brownie batter blizzard, brownie batter blizzard. Delicious and a tongue twister. The Brownie Batter Blizzard. Creamy DQ soft serve blended with gooey brownie batter and chocolatey brownie pieces.
So, how do you folks all know each other?
We work for the same insurance company.
Insurance, huh? Well, here we are. Don't be afraid to exit the vehicle and engage the cats. They love sudden movements.
It doesn't say that.
Out you go. Hurry, you're gonna miss your chance.
Really?
Go, go, go.
Okay.
That's right. Big sudden movements out there.
Some people really don't like insurance. Aviva wants to change that. Our claim service guarantee is just one way. Aviva is changing insurance.
I say, hey, it's just an ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind. 'Cause I've got a smile on my face, and I've got 4 walls around me.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Future Shop. 10:56 to go, fourth quarter. Calgary Stampeders, who have not started 2-0 since the 2000 season, trying to play comeback here in the fourth quarter tonight. Down 25-17. Trying to get momentum back on their side. A quick hitter. Kenyon Rambo.
They've managed to throw that quick slant to the weak side to Kenyon Rambo a few times here, but haven't been able to spring him for any deep routes yet. Kenyon Rambo, again, guy who's got that big play potential if they can get him deep. It's a great matchup out there on the weak side between Rambo and Jordan Younger, who's one of the best short side corners in the league.
Former Argo, Jordan Younger. Traded in the offseason for Tyler Ebell and TJ Acree. Demetrius Summers spinning for the first down, a fumble. The Eskimos have it.
You always want to exercise a little bit of variety in terms of your offense. This is a situation where the Calgary Stampeders, ball security so crucial here in the fourth quarter. I think I'd want the ball in Joffrey Reynolds' hands rather than Demetrius Summers. That's not a knock on Summers. It's just an experience thing. Keith Williams with the strip on that one. Second time today he's stripped one. This time the Eskimos come up with the fumble.
Well, that could be a big turning point in this game. Second turnover. Turnovers so costly last year for the Stampeders, and penalties. See what happens here. McCarty out of the backfield. Looked like he might get stopped near the line of scrimmage, but actually got some positive yardage. Almost 8 yards.
This play becomes almost like a shovel play. We've seen the shovel pass in the past. Keep an eye on the end here, Charleston Hughes. He's the guy who's going to get put in a bind. Unblocked. Comes upfield. Do I go to the quarterback? Do I cover somebody coming across? Whichever one he chooses is wrong. He gets caught in the middle on that one. Leaves room for Ricky Ray to dump it to Kelvin McCarty.
How about Charleston Hughes' story? A guy who had some time in the NFL from Detroit, got cut by the Stampeders, and then with the injuries this week, had to hustle back, and he's starting here tonight. An injury on the field. Will be back to Commonwealth Stadium in a moment. Well, one of the unfortunate parts of football, it is a game of collisions, and it is a game where you get put in precarious positions, and Julian Jenkins on the field right here, and this does not look good.
Yeah, keep an eye on Julian Jenkins coming in pursuit from the left side of your screen, breaking down to this play, and the legs get tangled up. Number 39, Charleston Hughes, almost got accidentally leg whipped here by his own player. Watch that left leg.
So we'll have a delay here as they bring out the paramedics. Nine and a half minutes to go. Julian Jenkins, one of the newcomers.
On the Calgary Stampeders continue to be snake bitten at those defensive end positions. They lost their 2 starters, Fontaine Hunter and Juwan Simpson, to injuries last week. Julian Jenkins was dressed as one of the backup defensive ends here tonight, and we see him suffer this serious leg injury. Oh.
Both coaching staffs obviously concerned. The Eskimo coaching staff over as well to help out the situation. Again, they're going to bring the stretcher out. And already, as you mentioned, that D-line for Calgary been affected by injury early in the season. So our best to Julian Jenkins. Chris Jones and Stampeders and John Huffnagel. New coaching staff, so many new faces this year for the Stampeders. And you know, we talk about the Edmonton Eskimos and their futility, and yes, the Stampeders made the playoffs last year, but keep in mind the Calgary Stampeders limped into the postseason last year, lost 7 of their last 8 games. So time was ripe for a change as well, and they picked a great one in John Huffnagel.
Yeah, they sure did. When you look at John Huffnagel's resume, I don't think you need to look too much further than the names he has coached. Not a ton of experience as a head coach, but when you look at the quarterbacks he has developed, and he's gotten the most out of all of these guys. Of course, in the CFL in Calgary, Doug Flutie with a string of MVPs. Jeff Garcia, he was Dave Dickinson's first offensive coordinator and quarterback coach in the CFL before heading south in 1997. I think the names Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Eli Manning, coached Mark Brunell to a Pro Bowl season. Those names speak for themselves.
The guy who called Huff when he played in the Canadian Football League had a number of starts at a time. But mostly when you think of John Huffnagel, you thought of him as a guy who was able to come off the bench, particularly when he was in Winnipeg, when he was the backup to Tommy Clements and they won the 1984 Grey Cup. He played such a pivotal role that season, giving a different look to the Winnipeg offense as opposed to Tommy Clements.
Yeah, and John Huffnagel learning lessons at every stop along the way, whether it's from Tom Clemens or during his time in Saskatchewan with Joe Barnes. An experienced mind, a guy who owned his trade as a coach under Wally Buono during the glory years in Calgary in the early 90s as they built a bit of a dynasty there. You look at the list of head coaches that he worked with in the NFL, a true student of the game here, and a guy who has waited for this opportunity. His only head coaching experience prior to this year came in the Arena Football League with the New Jersey Red Dogs.
Well, the brotherhood of football is, you know, it's such a violent game at times. And the hard hitting that goes on, no one in the game wants to see anything like that happen to anybody. And Julian Jenkins, after a serious leg injury here tonight, leaves the field on a stretcher. And they brought the cart out, but they wanted to make sure that they didn't move the leg at all. And that's why they called the paramedics out.
Yeah, you see that orange boot splint strapped to his left leg.
You know what goes through, and you've had injuries in the past, and people have had injuries. The worst part is, you know, you're such a player, you want to play. You realize that, you know, you're not going to be playing for a while.
Well, for a young guy like Julian Jenkins here in his first season in the CFL, to realize in week 2, as you said, his season's over.
Eskimos back at work. Ray stands in over the middle, crossing route for Jason Tucker. And it's another Edmonton first down. Getting close to that red zone.
And I like the play call here from the Edmonton Eskimos. As odd as it sounds to say, coming off that injury break, they have an opportunity to catch the Calgary Stampeders in a little bit of a lull, a little bit stunned. Their job is to win this football game regardless of what's happened up to this point. It's not a lack of compassion. They're just doing their jobs, going right after them.
Fred Stamps comes in, brings a play in. Kelly Campbell, you see him in there as well. 2 touchdowns for him in the game here tonight. First in the Canadian Football League. Still hanging in despite a leg injury himself. Still throwing. Big rush now, and Ray got rid of it.
Good decision there by Ricky Ray. They had that underneath screen play on again where they try to put that end in a little bit of a bind. Calgary obviously recognizing that now after seeing it a few times. Covered up. Good decision by Ricky Ray to throw that football away rather than risk taking a loss.
Ray looking to the sidelines. 22 of 33 tonight. 349 yards.
And the great irony of this is that Ricky Ray talked about risking his completion percentage in order to throw some deep balls. Ricky Ray has still completed 67% of his passes here tonight.
Has not thrown too many awry. Stamps runs right under it. A nice catch there just before the first down marker.
As we alluded to earlier, one of the keys to being able to throw these deep footballs is the ability to pick up the blitzes, ability to protect your quarterback. Watch the back, Kelvin McCarty slide over, pick up the linebacker all the way in the opposite B gap. That buys Ricky Ray enough time to deliver that ball to Fred Stamps on the far sideline.
Danny Machocha has just thrown a challenge flag here, and it looks like he's probably challenging the spot.
Based on the current location of the football, 3rd and at least a yard, probably a long one. So this is a reasonable challenge by Danny Machocha, reasonable gamble to try and get this marked as a first down. Keep your drive going.
Right now it'd be 3rd and a long yard. Field goal would make it an 11-point game. Machocha and the Eskimos want to keep the drive going here.
Yeah, it's not just a matter of points.
Edmonton was wanting to review the ruling on the field of the spot. That is a not reviewable play. 3rd down.
Not reviewable. So a moot point. And as we've discovered the last couple of weeks, there are some things that are not reviewable. Field goal, for instance, not reviewable. A fumble recovery in the field of play, as we saw last week, not reviewable. Prefontaine. And it's wide. And it's only a single. So now a 9-point game, and that all backfires for the Eskimos. And lots of time left here. 26-17, 7:12 to go in the fourth. The CFL on TSN brought to you tonight in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Rona, the Canadian how-to people. So the Calgary Stampeders, in many ways here after that turnover, not as costly as it may seem, catch a real break.
Yeah, they sure did. The one benefit for Edmonton, though, of that single point is at least it does guarantee a 2-possession game for Calgary.
Burris goes to the out pattern, and they are signaling a catch by Kenyon Rambo. And that is very close, if not a first down, right at the first down yard marker.
Here we're going to see just how close it is. Kenyon Rambo again laying out for that ball. Nice job to get the hands underneath. Looks like he's just in front of that marker.
He makes some real circus grabs, made one last week. And another one here tonight, but he has not found the end zone yet. Stampeders have to find the end zone. At the very least here, get a field goal in this drive. Looks like they just might be a little shy here. Battle of Alberta has begun. Last year, the Stampeders swept. 2 of those games were very close, mind you. Like the Eskimos, the Stamps had problems winning on the road. Their only 2 victories on the road last year, right here in Edmonton.
Yeah, the Stamps were 0-for outside of Alberta in 2007.
Trying to get one on the road here tonight. Down 9. Decides to go in the air. Rambo can't bring it in, and probably had a play to burn here, but now 3rd and inches. You have to figure they're going for it now.
Nothing wrong with the play call on 2nd down. When you know the Eskimos are bringing in their big people, anticipating probably a quarterback sneak or some simple play to get the 1st down. The only thing is the Stampeders didn't give them any kind of misdirection. They didn't create any sort of run threat on the play to really hold the Eskimos in the box and really make them believe once they lined up that they were going to run the ball.
3rd and inches now. Burris will keep himself. Stuffed there, but should be the 1st down. Looked like his forward motion gave him the necessary inchage.
Yeah, nice surge here by the Eskimo defensive line, but Burris needed so little, just inches to get the 1st down, and he's got it.
So the drive is alive. Speaking of driving, TSN, your home for NASCAR. Saturday night, the track heats up at the Daytona International Speedway. NASCAR Sprint Cup Coke 0400. Live coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, available in TSN high definition. Under 6 minutes to go. Burris. Blanketed downfield was Nick Lewis, and there was another receiver in the vicinity who was also wide open. Brett Ralph was wide open out there, but Burris could not find him.
Well,
Ralph was so wide open he could have been a touchdown.
Well, he had the time initially, but you're going to see middle linebacker number 39, Augie Baranachea, comes on a delayed blitz. He gets there in a time that prevents Henry Burris from stepping all the way into that throw. He was unable to lead Nick Lewis, or he may have been trying to get the ball to Brett Ralph in behind.
Another big one. Burris wide open, and look out, goodbye. Brett Ralph, the touchdown. Got him that time.
I'll tell you what, Rod, it looks here like the Calgary Stampeders recognize that Brett Ralph went uncovered on that post route on the previous play and came right back to him. Keep an eye on Ralph, number 11, middle receiver to the field. It's going to stem to the outside, gets lost in that coverage as the halfback jumped on the underneath route. Wide open, perfectly thrown ball by Henry Burris. Catches that one right in stride. Brett Ralph, sneaky dangerous for the Calgary Stampeders.
Holding for DeAngelis, so the Battle of Alberta kind of goes through Raymond, Alberta as well. A town of 3,200, home to the Ralph family. Brett and brother Brock, and Brett tonight has the touchdown, and a key one here. Now, a 2-point game. And that was the biggest play so far in this game for the Calgary Stampeders.
And suddenly a hush comes over Commonwealth Stadium.
And we have talked about their second half failures before. And you don't want to have a fourth quarter meltdown here and let the Stampeders come all the way back, as there was a missed assignment there.
We'll have a look here at the Calgary Stampeders. The recognition on back-to-back plays. Brett Ralph, previous play that went incomplete. You're going to see Brett Ralph in the background, comes in from the right. He knew he was open on that post route. Calgary Stampeders come back in a different formation, but a similar route for Brett Ralph. Going to the post. This time Henry Burris leads him. He just gets lost in that coverage. Clearly an MA, a missed assignment for the Edmonton secondary.
Coming off his best season last year. Big catch here tonight. 2-point ball game now. The Eskimos will have to answer, and still lots of time. 4 minutes and 49 seconds.
Pretty good field position here for the Edmonton Eskimos to start this drive around their own 45-yard line. We'll see Ricky Ray and his #1 target tonight, Kelly Campbell, try to go to work. Real test for the Edmonton Eskimos. They're a team whose confidence has been fragile over the last couple of years. We'll see where it's at tonight.
Everything has been in the air here tonight for Ricky Ray. 6-pack of receivers. Goes over the middle right away, and a great defensive play by Calvin Bannister. Kamau Peterson blanketed there, shadowed by Bannister, knocked it away.
Yeah, Edmonton spread them out on this one. You're going to see Kamau Peterson line up as the middle receiver to the field here. Inside receiver is Kelly Campbell. He goes on that underneath route. He's going to draw some attention. Kamau Peterson's just going on the go route again. Fights past Bannister for that inside position. But Bannister recovers nicely and again gets that upfield arm on the football.
Eskimos in danger of giving the ball right back to the Stampeders, who have the momentum now. The big rush. An L pattern here. And they're not getting the first down. Jason Tucker, and so Noel Prefontaine, whose missed field goal, looms large now from 34 yards.
Well, it sure does. A 2-point football game. S is up 26-24. Figure those 2 points would have made it a 4-point lead and made the field goal, a Calgary field goal, irrelevant.
You really look at the numbers, and really the amount of momentum tonight has really favored Edmonton. This would have to be very disappointing if the Stampeders were able to come all the way back, and going back to give up the single point. That could be a big single point now too. 3 points away, the Calgary Stampeders now, 27-24. Well, you wonder why he's smiling.
Henry Burris leading the Canadian Football League in touchdown passes since 2005, the last 3 seasons, and especially last year. Such a breakout year for Henry. Led the league with 34 touchdown passes, just 14 interceptions.
Crowd into it now, trying to urge on the defense. Burris pump fake in the pocket, down the sideline, and taken away at the last moment. Jordan Younger with a big defensive play.
Yeah, what a recovery here from Jordan Younger. Kenyon Rambo was in behind him by about 2 steps, but the timing was off on this play because of the pressure. Henry Burris had to step up. You're going to see Rambo, the lone receiver, to the top of your screen, and out. Younger bit, and up. But the pressure kept Henry Burris from throwing that football on time, and that's what allowed Jordan Younger to recover.
Only a couple times tonight that he's gone to that pump fake. That time it didn't work. Second down, 10 yards now. Deep again. Over the middle. And he dropped it. Kenyon Rambo again, Mr. Big Play, unable to haul that in. Dropped it. Does not happen very often to a guy who makes these catches like nothing. Here's the game story brought to you by MGD. Nothing to hide.
Well, certainly the Edmonton Eskimos didn't keep Kelly Campbell very well hidden tonight. Terrific weapon. 2 touchdown catches tonight. Huge game for him. The Eskimos still not delivering in that red zone. Held to just 1 touchdown and 4 opportunities. Calgary Stampeders continuing to spread the ball among their weapons once they got it going.
Kenyon Rambo knows he could have kept that drive alive. That does not happen very often to a guy who made a lot of big catches in his time with the Calgary Stampeders. We'll see the Stamps get the ball back here. Tristan Jackson finds the corner. Good field position for a start again for Ricky Ray with a 3-point lead. Chance to eat up some of the clock now.
Yeah, goal number 1 clearly for the Edmonton Eskimos is to get a couple of first downs and tick down that clock a little bit. But if they're unable to do that, that return by Tristan Jackson becomes so important because of the field position he created with the leg of Noel Prefontaine. Where they've moved the ball to now, it gives them an opportunity to pin the Calgary Stampeders deep if they are forced to punt.
Likely see a little more Damian Anderson here now. But they're throwing. Out of the backfield's Calvin McCarty with a drop.
The Eskimos, at a time where you would anticipate that they would run the ball, the Calgary Stampeders defense would probably believe they'd run the ball. The Eskimos go empty here. 6 receiver set. You see the reaction to the drop ball, stopping the clock.
McCarty in the backfield. Anderson right now on the sideline.
It's one thing if you want to throw the football in this situation, but at least keep a run threat in the backfield.
2nd and 10. Here's the rush. Flushed out his way, and he goes down. And a huge play here for the Calgary Stampeders and Juwan Armour.
Well, Juwan Armour was brought here to make plays, and he does just that. Getting the pressure, delivering the sack on Ricky Ray. So much of that field position that they had gained on that punt return, they give right back on the sack.
What you're starting to see, too, is some of what's happened to those Edmonton Eskimos in this losing streak, in these 4th quarter and 2nd half collapses, is that they are lacking some confidence here.
Yeah, that ability to close, it sounds like a cliche, but you hear people talk about learning how to win. And the Edmonton Eskimos over the last couple of years haven't learned how to win. And that means they get into a situation like that, and that confidence isn't there. The only way to get it is to grind out some victories.
Prefontaine now from his 25. Marcus Howell a chance to give the Calgary Stampeders some good position here. Trying to angle it to the sidelines. Bounces to the 30-yard line, 32-yard line. So now 2:04 to go, a 3-point game, and Henry Burris back at it to try to get the very least into Sandro DeAngelis's field goal range.
And Sandro DeAngelis, you know that you've got a very reliable kicker. You know if Sandro's range goes much beyond 50 yards.
Need about 4 first downs here. Burris in trouble. Look out! Got it away the very last second. Big rush that time by the Eskimos. Finally some heat on Henry Burris.
Yeah, Henry Burris had thoughts of running with this football once the pressure came, but the lanes that he was about ready to run through suddenly got closed up. Henry with a nice bit of improvisation with Sadiq Shabazz in his face to dump it off to Joffrey Reynolds.
Stampeders need a first down. Felwell has it, and running room. Ryan Felwell, a couple of missed tackles there.
Sorry.
And now moving closer to field goal range for Sandro DeAngelis. 33-yard gain. Ryan Felwell, big play here in the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, Ryan Felwell doing the little things so well here. Recognizing he's got to make that man miss, but watch for the block from number 82, Nick Lewis. Kill shot. Huge. Watch. Lenny Williams, number 9, just gets ear-holed by Nick Lewis.
Lenny Williams just got up. Huge block there. Able to spring Felwell. And this is lots of time now to move it into field goal position or even into touchdown range. Sandro DeAngelis' career field goal for distance is 52 yards. Wide open again is Brett Ralph. That is 3 times now in the last 3 or 4 minutes that number 11 has been all by himself.
Well, was there any doubt that they were going to go to that side of the field? Lenny Williams, usually the halfback to the wide side, he gets hurt. That forces them to juggle. Jonte Buell has to move in from corner to half. Tristan Jackson, the return man, has to go out to the corner. They attack the new personnel. Great recognition and execution.
Now into the red zone. Behind center. Looks like he'll keep it on the ground here. No, play action over the middle. Touchdown! Nick Lewis.
This is a play that the Calgary Stampeders have used all night to Kenyon Rambo. Now they're running the same play, but using motion, using different formations to get different personnel. So now you've got Nick Lewis as the receiver to that short side. They use play action to get everybody to bite down inside. Lewis just runs a quick slant, beat Jordan Younger to the inside, and he's got a lane to the end zone.
Still a minute 38 to go. A chance for the Eskimos, certainly. Lots of time still to drive it down, but a 4-play, 80-yard drive. Brett Ralph figuring prominently, and Nick Lewis with the touchdown. And the Edmonton Eskimos now have to find the end zone. Danny Machocha,
2 quarters now.
his team seemingly in control.
I tell him he's gonna go score. I'm still gonna be seeing what's film though.
Second half failure from the Edmonton Eskimos.
Nice run fake, nice route by Nick Lewis. Once again, catching that ball at its highest point, aggressively going to the football, and he's got that nose for the end zone.
Let's go! Let's go!
An absolute head shaker. Danny Machocha, they're winning the Grey Cup. Back in 05, last couple of seasons, not making the playoffs. Calgary takes its first lead of the ball game. 98 seconds to go. And the guy who's really turned it around, you could talk about Nick Lewis and Kenyon Rambo and Ryan Felwell. Brett Ralph.
Let's go,
the native of Raymond, Alberta.
Let's go, Dean!
2 huge plays wide open. One to keep the drive alive, another for a touchdown. How huge was that touchdown? The Eskimos need some field position now. And they're not getting it. Damian Anderson And Ricky Ray finds some magic.
Well, now you've got a team that struggled to put points up on the board in a situation where 3's not good enough.
There's the guy who has 2 of their touchdowns tonight.
And Kelly Campbell has really been laboring the last couple series with that knee contusion.
Last week, a loss to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Looks so good for the most part of tonight. Ray, open is Campbell, takes a hit. And only used up a few ticks of the clock. Eskimos scrimmage quickly here.
Well, whatever the outcome of this football game is, you've got to love what you've seen from number 71, Kelly Campbell. This guy doesn't weigh but $170, but fearlessly going across the middle to catch that football.
Ray again. Nobody home. Downfield, wide open was Fred Stamps. Had he looked backside, Stamps was gone for 6.
Yeah, Fred Stamps was lined up as a single receiver on the backside of that route. Unfortunately for the Eskimos, Ricky Ray stayed front side. But Stamps got wide open on a little post route with the safety working away from him.
Big play here. You don't want to get down to a 3rd down situation. Need the 10 yards. Ray for Campbell. Again! Welcome to the Kelly Campbell Show, everybody.
You may be wondering right now if the Edmonton Eskimos have another receiver. Do the Edmonton Eskimos need another receiver?
Exactly. They're
Kelly
all
Campbell has been unconscious tonight.
Well,
8
maybe.
catches, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looking for number 3 right here.
They got to get to the red zone and get to the end zone. Ray for Tucker. Did he catch it? He did! He caught it! It's a touchdown! Unbelievable! Unbelievable! Jason Tucker!
Well, Jason Tucker doing what he does. He's going to go on the corner route. Middle receiver at the top of your screen. Got outside position on Kelvin Bannister. This is what Jason Tucker does best. Wes Lysak goes for the hit instead of the ball.
Goodness! Can you believe this catch in your life?
Unbelievable.
Well, they do have another receiver, and his name's Jason Tucker. Kelly Campbell first, and then Jason Tucker with another one for his personal circus highlight reel.
Yeah, somebody put in a call to SportsCenter because we got the highlight of the night.
Oh, man. And now all of those people who are heading for the exits are hanging around. And guess what? We still have 55 seconds, and this is still not over. Because we're back to a 3-point lead.
This is the Battle of Alberta. Canadian football at its best.
Shootout time. I think we've had to change our TSN turning point a few times here in this final few minutes. Look at that. 1 hand, 2 hands. Has it all the way. And Jason Tucker has done that so many times. I mean, the shock on the Calgary Stampeders sideline at that time. Back-to-back Campbells, then Jason Tucker.
Well, I'm not sure there wasn't shock on the Edmonton Eskimos sideline, too.
Well, buckle up. We're still not done here. 55 seconds to go. Summers trying to get some field position now, and will step out of bounds smartly. 48 seconds for Henry Burris. And we still might see the foot of Sandro DeAngelis yet. What a wild game here in the Wild West.
Well, Calgary has driven the ball from this spot on the field before. We've seen some big plays from the Stamps here in the fourth quarter. Do they have anything left up their sleeve?
What a tough night to be a DB. Man, feel like Linda Blair out there. Head spinning. Burris. Joffrey Reynolds is rocked by Augie Berenicia. .43 seconds to go. High snap, penalty flag, flies, and picked off. There is a penalty flag. Jordan Younger with the interception, but let's wait on the verdict from referee Darryl Barron.
Well, the way Henry Burris threw that up.
Offside. Calgary, number 82. Penalties decline. Edmonton, first down.
You know, Danny Machocha is not a very old man by any stretch. He's a very young head coach. I think he's aged about 20 years over the last 4 minutes. And the Edmonton Eskimos will hang on and win a crazy one. A game they had in their grasp, let out of their grasp, and then in the grasp of Jason Tucker, a miraculous catch, will win this ball game. Who knew? Who knew? So time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by the 2008 GMC Sierra.
Yeah, pretty simple one to pick out here. The catch, we'll call it, by Jason Tucker. Fantastic corner out, double coverage.
It's 34-31. Both teams now 1-1. The Eskimos win their home opener in a thriller. Sports Center is next.
This is Sports Center.
Rivalry night in the CFL. Provincial pride is on the line as the Stamps and Eskies renew hostilities in Edmonton. A quarterback carousel in the Battle of Ontario.
Johnson, touchdown!
The league's MVP takes aim at the Argos' old enemy, but it was a Canadian cat who stole the show in T.O. 14 for Broadway.
Marcus Naslund scores!
Captain Canuck says goodbye to Vancouver and signs with the Rangers. And it's the Williams world at Wimbledon. The sisters hit the semis on a collision course for a championship showdown. If you came to see highlights, you've ended up at the right spot. Jay and Dan with you and talk about a doubleheader to remember. At least the capper was.
Yes, absolutely. The Battle of Alberta, always entertaining. This game especially so. The Stampeders and Eskimos. Edmonton looking to rebound after losing to the defending champion Rough Riders against the Calgary team, coming off an impressive win over the Lions in Week 1. First quarter, Ricky Ray airing it out to Kelly Campbell, a new star in the CFL. 32-yard touchdown strike, 7-zip Edmonton. Next possession, Brock Ralph lays out for the diving catch, but the drive stalls. Stampeders starting QB Henry Burris putting in those red contact lenses before the game. Later in the drive, from the 15.
Again, final play, first quarter, to the end zone. Oh, what a catch and a touchdown, Jermaine Copeland.
The Stamps come back to tie it at 7 as we move to the second quarter, but the Eskimos would strike back from 8 yards out. It's Campbell with his second touchdown of the game. Edmonton's up 14-7. Now they're up 21-7. On the Eskies 20, it's Burris to Copeland, but he fumbles it. But Ryan Thelwell will make the recovery, keeping the drive alive at the 8. And on first and goal, it's Joffrey Reynolds punching it home. The Stamps within 7. It's 21-14. A gruesome moment in the fourth. Defensive lineman Julian Jenkins catches a leg whip from fellow lineman Charleston Hughes. And it is as ugly as it looks. Jenkins had to stay down. He'd have to be taken off the field at Commonwealth on a stretcher. Later in the quarter, Burris double pumps, finds wide open Brent Ralph. 65 yards for the major score. The Stamps draw within 2. Under 2 minutes to play. Burris to Nick Lewis. 21-yard touchdown strike. The Stamps are now up 31-26. But in the final minute, Ricky Ray and Jason Tucker hook it up for an incredible play.
And get to the end zone. Ray for Tucker. Did he catch it? He did! He caught it! It's a touchdown! Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
It was unbelievable, and it was the game-winning touchdown. The Eskimos hold on for the 34-31 win. What a performance, what a game, and with more on the game, the guys who called it, it's Rod Black and Dwayne Ford.
It will go down as, I know it's a young season, the best game of the young season so far. Typical CFL ending football. I think earlier this morning we were talking about, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have one of those kind of finishes like the good old days? Well, the good old days were back here tonight.
Well, they sure were, and isn't it fitting, Rod, that this would come in the Battle of Alberta, this great rivalry opening night here in Edmonton. Just a fantastic back-and-forth battle.
Kelly Campbell, even though Jason Tucker had the great catch, Kelly Campbell stole the show here tonight.
Yeah, if you didn't know who Kelly Campbell was before this game, you sure do now. Fantastic tonight. 8 catches, 2 touchdowns, all over the field, running deep routes, running crossing routes, running post routes, catching absolutely everything and scaring the living daylights out of the Calgary Stampeders secondary. This guy was huge. A star is truly born here tonight.
8 catches tonight and a couple of huge ones into the final drive. It looks for a moment that the Edmonton Eskimos were going to go back to that old form where they fell apart, but somehow there was a miracle in the making, and it came back to the veteran, Jason Tucker.
Yeah, guys who have been through the war, that connection. Ricky Ray to Jason Tucker running that signature corner route. The final minutes, they go with their bread and butter, and Jason Tucker comes up with an absolutely unreal catch in double coverage to pull out the victory, and a ball, the needle couldn't have been threaded any better by Ricky Ray.
circus catch for Tucker and an important win for the Edmonton Eskimos, their first since last September. They end their 7-game losing streak with win number 1 in 2008. Back to SportsCenter.
Ticats and Argos kicked off the doubleheader. Toronto's quarterbacking carousel, the hot topic going in. Kerry Joseph got the start over Michael Bishop in week 1, and it's Joseph who again gets the first crack. Joseph looking downfield for Arlan Bruce, throws it into triple coverage, incomplete. The two not appearing to be on the same page on that throw. 3-0 Argos after 1, second quarter. Bishop starting to get warm on the sideline. Jesse Lumsden gets the ball for Hamilton, up the middle, bounces to the outside, runs over the Argos secondary. Very next play, everybody concerned about Lumsden. Casey Printers runs it in himself for the score. As you see, everyone looks at Lumsden. Printers goes untouched into the end zone. Ticats led 14-6 at the half. Third quarter, Printers airs it out for Scott Mitchell. He hauls it in. At the Argos 3, he's down. Remember the Lumsden run from the first quarter? Watch Mike O'Shea. He overcommits. Lumsden bounces it outside for the touchdown. Ticats take a commanding 21-6 lead. Toronto starts to chip away, though. Joseph caps off a 14-play, 106-yard drive with an 8-yard scamper for the touchdown. Hamilton's lead down to 8. Final play of the third quarter, Argos defensive tackle Adrian O'Belly punches Marwan Hag after getting knocked down. It results in an ejection from the game. Fourth quarter, the Argos D tries, giving a spark to the team.
Jason French blown up by Kenny Wheaton.
Wheaton annihilates Jason French. Lumsden was the story. Breaks through the hole where Belly would have been, takes it all the way to the house, a 57-yard score. Lumsden, 20 carries, 189 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Ticats win. And that's big because the Argos had not lost to Hamilton since Labor Day 2005. They've won 9 straight against the Ticats. And Toronto gave up only 10 rushing touchdowns all last season, but Hamilton busted for